Welcome to another episode of Against the Grain. This is like the first Saturday that we've actually gotten to this is like, if last week we recorded, this is like our first consecutive session in a long time.
In a long while. Yeah.
Yes. So, not that
2 and 3 were consecutive, but then that was it.
Not that you, the viewers, will really know, because it's just going to get uploaded really whenever. But you'll notice we might be more on a groove today, hopefully. We were kind of already talking while we were setting up.
Yeah, that always happens.
Yeah.
That always happens. It's unavoidable.
We always start talking about something good, and it's like, oh shit, we should be recording right now.
Yeah, like that's usually how it goes too. Like, so the way our conversation kind of started today was we were talking about the rest of the country's opinion on the Northeast, and our friend Billy seems to think that everybody just hates New Jersey, and then it seemed to realize that Connecticut is just as much in that hate pool.
I think Connecticut might be the most hated of the Northeast.
It kind of is. Jersey, it's like people.
Even people in Connecticut hate Connecticut.
Yeah, whereas people in New Jersey are loyal to Jersey. Like, like it's weird. Like, even though they shouldn't be. Like, the only things that really suck about Jersey is the pollution, the tolls, the traffic, the roads, and the people. Connecticut.
Almost everything.
But Connecticut, it's like, really the people suck. Like, you got some dimes here and there. Like, some cool individuals. But other than that, it is just...
Also, our economy sucks. Like, we were talking about, like, the middle class just does not exist in Connecticut.
No, it doesn't. Like, if you're poor, you're poor. If you're rich, you're rich. Like, then there's really nothing in between. Like, I grew up with holes in my shoes here. Like, this is the North. That's some shit you would expect in the South. But, like, the South is actually pretty chill from my experience. Like, when I've been down there, it's like... I'm sorry. So I have animals, and I have a cat meowing and a dog crying, so you might hear that in the background.
As they're both fucking...
Yeah, like, and right near my mic.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
I will take care of that. You guys continue talking.
Alright. Well,
So, I guess, since our last recording, we mentioned the debate, but none of us really saw it. I didn't bother watching the actual whole debate, so I watched some highlights and some commentary, and boy, oh boy, it was bad
abysmal
for Biden. Terrible. Holy shit.
Dude, I can't get over. I saw more of it. Wasn't like one of their first talking points about fucking golf?
They did
they
argue
were
about
arguing
golf.
About their fucking golf swing.
They did argue. Trump was trying to roast Biden because Biden apparently can't golf.
And it's so funny, too, because it's one thing, all right? Trump is going to be Trump, okay? He's the one that brought up the golf thing. It's just like a little side note. Just like, oh, yeah. What did he say? Something about, like, oh, Biden couldn't hit, like, a fucking...
Yeah, a certain distance or something.
Yeah. But then for Biden, the first thing he said, basically, when he got the fucking mic, was, like, he was trying to prove himself in golf. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Let him...
Wait, are we talking about,
stoop to his fucking
Are we talking about golf or the Persian Gulf War?
We're talking about golf!
Dude,
Adam, we were talking about the debate.
We're talking about the debate.
One of their first things that they were talking about was they were arguing about their fucking golf record.
These guys are so disconnected from the day-to-day. I don't think people in government and people in the corporate world fully understand how bad our day-to-day lives are here at the bottom. Like, most of us contemplate suicide at least once a year, and most of us a lot more than that. Like, we do not give a rat's ass about their golf record.
Zero shit.
Zero shit. God,
it's so funny. Those are like that's the equivalent of like fucking elementary school kids on a playground just being like, just like talking shit in basketball. Like, it's the same fucking thing. These are the two prime candidates to be the leader of the entire goddamn nation.
It's even worse than that because it's like those kids arguing about their shitty basketball record on the playground at school are not candidates for running.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's stupid.
It's insulting. It's like, how dumb do you think we are? We don't care. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, they really are just disconnected.
The whole debate, it was just it was just a joke. I will say, I don't know if it was better or worse than the last one though? Because the last one was just completely like incoherent. Like the 2020 one, like I don't
No,
know.
this one was worse.
Well, at least they had like the fucking the mute thing. Which, by the way, that's the first time they've ever had to do that. It was, like with the muting the mics thing.
I hate debates where it's like a strict time thing. It's like, oh, your 2 minutes are up.
Well, no, honestly, I feel like that was kind of needed for this.
Oh, it's needed. It sucks,
at least
though.
just for this one.
Hold on.
It sucks that it's needed.
As someone who, you and I, Billy, we debate a lot, that 2-minute rule really should come in handy because both of us have this issue where one of us will just keep fucking talking. Like Trump or Biden. But Trump will just
Not when we get into it.
Yeah, no, when we talk, dude, it'll be like an hour one of us is going on, the other one's just listening. That's the best.
That I will say that has happened here.
Yeah.
That has happened
Do
here.
you remember? I don't remember which episode. Wait, that's some shit. Cats on the table.
Alright, sorry about those technical difficulties.
Oh, fuck. What were we talking about?
We were talking about the debate, and we were talking about recording.
We
I
did
had
a
such
clap
a good
in the
point,
very
though.
beginning, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did? Okay.
Yeah.
I had such a good fucking point.
So we were talking about the 2-minute time when it comes to debate.
Yeah, Adam, you were
yeah.
claiming that
When you and I talk, we do have that problem,
Yeah.
man. I'm surprised
No.
you... Yeah, we do.
Dude, I remember. I forgot which episode it was, but
yes,
when we were
on
talking
the
about
podcast, we kind of have
yeah,
that
well, that's
issue.
what I mean. Well, when we were talking about agriculture, I remember. I won't lie, you were the one.
Yeah.
that was going
Very
Adam-
passionate about it.
Yeah.
Very passionate about
Like
that.
you were the one just saying well, I think I did literally ask you to just like explain what you would do, and it took you like a whole like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
gone on some tirades, but when we're talking, when it's an actual debate, like not just a discussion, but like more,
Oh, hold on.
elevated
I want to stop right there because I clump everything, discussions, debates. To me, I just call it a debate. When we're just on the phone bullshitting for hours, yeah, we're like...
It's a debate.
It's a debate. Yeah. It's a debate. Like, that's... You can put I don't do the whole label thing. I kind of clump things together, as you've noticed. I do that with people, too. So... I don't know what to do with that cat because I can't
that
put
cat
him
is
in...
meowing. Hold on, let me see.
They
if
might not be
it's
able
getting
to.
picked up.
They might not even be able to fucking hear it. Yeah.
Hold on, really quickly. We can edit this.
Because I can't put him in my bedroom because he will pee on my clothes.
I don't think it's getting
Whatever.
picked up.
It's
It's barely
fine.
getting picked
They
up.
can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little slight background noise. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, I can't even solve that because he will pee on my clothes because he doesn't have access to the litter box, but I can't leave the door open because Freya will come out and then, she causes noises on her own, so...
Yeah.
Do you think he'll do
They've
that
never
again?
been an issue.
If I open the door, yeah, he'll do it again because he wants to go in there. He's trying to be annoying.
Oh, why is that door closed?
Because Freya...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I'm
no,
trying-
it is a conundrum.
It's... yeah.
Also, they've literally like never been an issue. Like I've been here a few times now. I've never heard that fucking cat. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's because
and now
now
he's
he's more...
meowing like crazy.
Yeah, now he's more comfortable with you guys. I warned you this was going to happen. Once he gets more comfortable, he's going to be a pain in the ass, and we hit that point today.
I guess
Right,
so.
where he wants our attention.
Yeah. Problem is, I can't have him jumping on the laptop. That's an
definitely
issue.
fucking not.
Yeah, that's an
Definitely not,
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
It is what it is.
But yeah, freaking. I guess maybe like I don't like strict time limits in a way because they can really hinder discussions.
Okay.
Where like sometimes someone needs a little extra time to finish their point.
So I
You know
think
what I
the time thing, it should be like a thing. I think it should have some loose like boundaries to it. But like I know when you and I are talking, you'll say something and I immediately want to rebuttal that one point. But then you start talking about another point and I lose track of the first point, so it makes it harder for me to give an actual debate. So like I think
I think there's two factors that go into that, especially with these two fucking candidates, right? Think about it. So these are the two oldest candidates in history already.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're fucking children. Like both of them. Like they both just want to have as much time on there as possible. You saw the 2020 debate. They were both just talking over each other. And plus, I think, with us three, it's like, we're all, we know each other. We're friendly, right? We don't want to actually fucking harm
True.
the other person.
True.
They're both fighting, basically, for
Yeah,
the top
they're
spot.
not exactly. They're not
Yeah.
actually, let's be honest, they're not actually trying to have like an honest debate.
And that's kind of the thing too. Yeah. Like when they don't have an honest debate, you have to figure out why aren't they? What allows them to have that motivation? It's because they don't feel the need to placate. They don't feel the need to even like cater to the people at all. Like to me, that's like a lack of respect. Like they don't respect their audience.
I don't know if they're respecting the audience, maybe in terms of like the intelligence of the audience. I think, here's the thing, news media, from the clips I watched, and I watched a little bit of the beginning of the debate, they do not, and from the other, I've watched plenty of other debates, especially in the 2020 primary, they do not know how to moderate debates, the news media.
Oh, God.
They will, in this one case, they did the time limit thing, but before, if you watch the Democratic debates, they were fine for the most part with not giving certain people, like they'd barely give anyone, certain people they'd barely give speaking time. They would barely like stop people from interrupting the hell out of each other.
That's the issue.
Yeah. No, they don't know how to, like a good moderator is supposed to gauge like if anyone is being bad faith, meaning if it's a back and forth kind of debate where like people, it's not as strict with the timings and the rules, a good moderator needs to recognize when someone is abusing that and is not basically like is trying to either hog the talking time or interrupting the hell out of their opponent.
So one of the things I mentioned before was the lack of respect for the audience, which is the people. And I think the media is just as much a part of that as...
Oh, true, yeah.
Like, the media doesn't respect the people.
The media is like, ooh, let's go popcorn. And then they're all giddy about talking to the debate after. Oh, wasn't it? It's so stupid.
Like, it's all fake. It's very, like, it's like when you're talking to a fake person. It's like they literally do not acknowledge the people as... like the people, like we're just viewers to them, not people with rights, not people with like needs, wants, like what we expect from our government. They don't take us seriously.
We're just numbers.
We're just numbers.
We're just the numbers that they need.
Like the view doesn't like they're like, oh, we had a million views, so that doesn't determine whether or not we agree, disagree, or our feelings on the topic. We're very much disregarded here at the bottom, and that's why the candidates, the moderators, the whole debate system, it's more or less just for show.
It's
superficial as fuck.
It's stupid. It's not even a debate. It's a lot
just
of the times
dick measuring contest.
When it's like, especially when there's more than two people, it's just a group interview. That's all it
Pretty
is.
Much, yeah.
But the media, they're the moderators, but like they're asking all the questions. There's actually barely any back. Sometimes, like,
I'm surprised they didn't ask about Kanye West in the debate. Like, oh, what'd you think about his controversy? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the?
Wait, did they ask?
I have no idea. It's not surprising if they did, right?
No,
it wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
it would be a little surprising.
It's just so irrelevant.
It wouldn't be surprising, Billy. It'd be surprising to you because you have standards. But I shit you not. I feel like there was a debate where years ago they mentioned some celebrity controversy. Like, oh, how do you feel about this? Like,
I think in some of the Democratic debates, they brought up some stupid, asinine topics, and it's like nobody cares. Another thing, they'll do that too. They will. It's so stupid. They might have a debate panel of like sometimes up to 12 people. 12 people. The news. By the way, I don't think it should ever be that high.
No, I think it can't be that high.
I hate that. Because what you'll get inevitably is like a lot of people will there'll be like 2 or 3 people that barely talk. Because everyone is fighting for time to talk when it's 12 people and it's an hour and a half.
Well, that's kind of the thing that comes to the debate structure, not the amount of people. I think having 12 people is great, but you have to give everybody equal time to talk. So when I ask a question as a moderator, I want to hear from left to right every single person. They have 2, 3, 5 minutes to talk.
True. I guess you're right. You could make it work. That another thing they'll do, they'll have like a bunch of topics trying to squeeze it into 2 hours with 12 people. Not going to happen.
No,
they need to realize
complicated issues.
That's what I'm saying. They don't know how to moderate. A good moderator. I've watched proper debates online. They do not work this way. A good moderator will realize, wait a minute, like we can't spend as little as like 15 minutes per topic. No. Like, but now with 12 people, that's stupid.
And also, like, I feel like a big thing here is to, like, we gotta remember, this is a political debate, not people with expert opinions.
True that, yeah.
So, like, really, when I ask a question, I just want to hear their answer, left or right. I don't need to, they're not arguing. They're not there to argue with each other. Because I will call in an expert after this debate is done, call it like the, you know, after the Super Bowl, they have, like, the post show where it's them going, like, the replays and going,
yeah.
I'll have a panel of experts picking each of them apart. Like, each of their answers, why they're wrong, why they're right, why this person is kind of right but kind of wrong. I'll do that. I want to hear your answers. Like, you're not there to argue with each other. You're not there to dick measure. I want to see how much you guys actually know, and I'm going to go by, like, economic experts, social economic experts, political, like social political experts, like, people, sociology experts to see if, like, because a lot of our laws, when they're debating controversial things like police, this is something that a sociologist should answer. The conflict between black people and police officers, that should be like a sociological expert, not Biden
honestly,
or Trump.
These politicians are not experts.
Debates on the news media, they suck. And
So
they don't even debate topics. It's like, oh, you said this thing. Oh, and it was controversial. It's like, dude, like, can we at least, like, debate topics every now and then? Like, actual topics. Like, try to find out who's right and wrong here. You know?
Exactly. Like some controversies can be talked about, some should not just be talked about. It doesn't fucking matter. Like a topic that should be talked about, or two of them. January 6th should be talked about. Trump should be questioned about that if he's going to run for president again. And then Biden with the cocaine scandal with his son and all that other shit. That shit should be talked about.
Well, it involves his son. I don't know.
It was in the White House. They found that shit in the White House. That's an issue.
Okay,
I think in the debate, correct me if I'm wrong, they brought up Jan 6, like the moderator. They brought that. I don't think they brought up anything about Hunter Biden. I think Trump brought it up.
That's another thing too. Like they do, you can tell it's very biased in the way they do this because they're not going to bring up Biden and Biden.
They did bring up his mental decline. That was like one of the first things. I think that might have been the first thing they talked about. Actually,
I mean, to be real, he shouldn't be president now. He shouldn't be running for president. He should be in a nursing home.
He was too old when he got in fucking 4 years ago.
He was too old in my opinion, during Obama's administration. I'm going to be real. This may be a hot take, but I
think we should have age limits.
That's not even a hot take.
That's not a hot take.
I feel like that's just
my hot take is that a lot of people in this country. I've talked to a lot of people. When you talk to a person in their 20s and you mention that the age restrictions on politicians, so in order to even get into Congress, I believe you have to be like 32 years old or something.
35.
Yeah. Jesus. That is ridiculous to me. It's
ageist.
It is. Like, if you look at our founding fathers, aside from George Washington and two other people, most of them were in their 20s.
Now, I agree that the age limit thing is ageist, and I don't like it. But I also don't think we should have an age limit for that same reason. It is ageist. It would be ageist for us to limit.
Okay,
hold on.
Hot take. If you could take away is that a problem? Look at what the fuck we're working with.
And also, Billy, you could take away someone's driver's license at a certain age if they show mental decline.
True. Exactly. No, we've got to, but at least then you're given a chance. Like, your driver's license, it's not like, oh, you're this age, you're done. No, they take a test. Okay, you're still good, you can drive. We do it based on the merit. It should be merit based, in my opinion. Elderly people should always be given a chance to stay in the game. I don't know.
So, well, by that same logic though, what would so you wouldn't want an age limit, what's the other version? How young can a president be?
So I think if you're old enough to fight in a war, if I can be drafted, I should have a say in my politics. I don't think 18 years old is unfair. Yes, some people argue that person doesn't have life experience, but that person also has a very different take on the world, which is valuable. They have a valuable view. And I also believe there's something that happens, and I feel it with myself. I am approaching 30. There is this thing that happens, I don't understand newer music. I don't understand a lot of the young culture. I know it's because I'm getting older and certain things are just not making sense to me anymore. you begin disconnecting from the younger generations, and you can't really control it. Like, even if I try, it's like, it's fake. You ever see, like, an old person try to be young? It's like,
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, so, you're saying that if the country actually wanted it, there could be an 18-year-old as president.
An 18, that likely would never happen just because you would have, like, in order to...
But, like, you're saying that it should be able to happen.
Should be able to happen, but generally, the way political careers start, you're 18 years old, you'd probably get into Congress, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to work your way through the House, gain a reputation before you can get supporters, backers, people who are going to actually value your opinion. So by the time you would be able to become president, I think it would take about a decade.
Right. Well, here, think about this, right? In the same way there's an age limit, or there should be an age limit, right? That's more just because of mental decline. Their brain is starting to develop, or like, it's starting to devolve, right?
Yeah.
I think by that same logic, because like, I'm 18, right? I know I'm a fucking idiot. I should not be president.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Developing at 25.
That is this thing that happens with everybody, though. Everybody thinks, oh, when I become an adult, everything's going to make sense. It doesn't. Like we were saying earlier, I am still, even though I'm approaching 30, I am still 19 in a decaying body. That is all the difference is. Someone who's 50 years old is just as dumb as you. That is the reality. Like, whether they want to admit it or not, I've seen dumb 50 or more dumb 50 or honestly, I'm going to be real. I've seen more dumb older people than I have younger people in this generation. I feel like people born in the 70s and 60s are just, no offense to any of my viewers, but y'all are fucking ignorant.
I hate to kind of agree.
Like, you guys are entitled. You guys are entitled. You guys ruined the economy. You bought a house in 1980 for 11 raspberries, yet you're yelling at our generation that we're not working hard enough. Even though statistically, we produce more than your generation did, hands down.
I think all this comes down to, what are you going to be... You're not going to be saying that same thing when you're 50.
No,
you're going to be saying that you were fucking stupid when you were 28.
See,
I'm going to be saying, when I'm 50, I'm going to be saying, I'm also a fucking idiot when I was 18.
But that's because you live life with regrets. But then when you're 70, you're going to look at your 50-year-old self and say, damn, I was stupid. Yeah. And then when you die, you're going to be like, when you're on your deathbed, you're like, wow, I was stupid my whole life. There wasn't a moment in my life that I was smart. That's life. That's the thing. That's why when you hit a certain... Like, in reality, I feel like one of the things I have is a gift for being able to disconnect from... like biological / like interpersonal things. I can see outside myself, and there is a reality to it that like you are who you're going to be for the rest of your life, and you're only going to learn more. But what you learn isn't necessarily good. You know, you get your heart broken, you put up a harder shell. Like that's not necessarily good. Honestly, older people. Some of the most selfish people I've met are people in their 40s. Straight up, like people in their younger ages tend to be more giving, but as they give and they don't receive, they become colder. Like they give with the expectation in the back of their mind that this will pay off eventually. And when it doesn't, they close themselves off. Eventually, you start fighting for yourself and not for others. Well, like that classic line: you either die a hero. Or live long enough to see yourself become the enemy.
I don't know if there's a correlation there. Think about it too. You're saying they when you're young you give, and then when you don't receive you become more selfish. I think arguably, even if you receive, you might become more selfish. Rich people are hands down the greediest people I fucking know.
Oh, I agree with that entirely. For me, it was more just an example, like because typically rich people. Younger people tend to give, but this is not including class issues, but that's another major issue we have. Most of the politicians we have come from wealthy families.
Fucking loaded.
Yeah, loaded. Yeah. Like, George Bush was like, I fought in Vietnam. Bitch, you, worked at worked at our, forts and shit. Like, you weren't out there in combat because your daddy protected you.
You can't run for office with less than $1 million.
You can't run for office for less than, honestly, Trump spent most of his fortune on that first campaign.
If it's for president, you need lots.
Well, even still, even local government,
you need a lot of money.
You need a lot of fucking
that's
to become mayor. It probably not in the millions, but tens of thousands. Has to be.
Yeah, a lot of the times. It's a big problem in politics. That's a big debate issue, we could debate that. Well, I mean, I don't know if we've ever talked about this campaign finance.
Oh, I do not think companies should be able to back.
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think
sponsorship.
it's so stupid.
Companies
I hate how it's unlimited.
Companies should never have the same rights as people. That's something that this country just seems to like right over their head.
Companies have more rights.
Companies nowadays, companies have more rights than individuals. Companies shouldn't have freedom of speech. Companies shouldn't have the right to privacy. And all of your information is public. What you do, where you're transporting shit, there's no privacy there. You don't get to. I think lobbying should be illegal. Like, I don't believe you should be able to buy off politicians.
I think lobbying needs to be balanced.
Why balance? It should.
There's
no good from it, though. I don't see the good coming from lobbying.
Well, because it's like, what if there's sometimes a policy, theoretically there are times where Congress could overregulate, and there should be the company should be allowed to say, hey, if you do this, this will be the effect it'll have.
So that's not a lobbyist. That's not a lobbyist. A lobbyist is, hey, pass this, here's money. Well, what you're talking about is there should be economic and political experts in giving advice. So when they see a bill, well, that's the thing. We need the fact that our politicians overregulate just means that we have shitty politicians. If they're not, we have shitty politicians. And if we had good politicians like that,
we had smarter politicians. Smarter the politicians, the better everything gets. But for the most part, unless they're
makes fucking sense.
I just don't see the good in lobbying. There's never never.
You're right. A lot of lobbying is as you described, where it's like the lobbyists will extend something. Hey, in your next campaign, our group, we're going to help you out more if you vote for this bill. There's a lot of that. And that's corruption, basically.
That's bad. Yeah,
that's terrible. Yeah. That's where the evil is. If we got rid of their ability to give to campaigns, what would you think of, the people who speak to politicians then? Is that okay? Is that not okay?
No.
Still not okay?
Still not okay, because they're going to do shit under the table. They're going to, there's no, because,
Now, that's classic corruption. That's been illegal for a long time.
Yeah, but they still do it. Look at Nancy Pelosi.
You think she gets paid under the table?
She makes... Did you not see that COVID interview where they were going through her house? She had a fridge. It's like a $75,000 fridge. And she's like, oh yeah, we're really
Politicians in this country, they're loaded.
No,
especially Nancy Pelosi.
But they're only loaded because of corruption. So what she does to make money, her husband works on Wall Street.
Yeah, it's stocks.
So she makes money through insider trading, which is illegal.
Hella illegal.
Yeah, but she does it, and there was an interview last year.
Well, what does this have to do with lobbying?
Well, because they're kind of interconnected. It just means that the way it connects to lobbying is that if you get rid of the ability for politicians to speak in their ears, they will still do corrupt shit. And that's an example. Her husband's not even a lobbyist, but he's like, hey, we can benefit from this if you pass this. And she's like, okay. And then it gets passed, and she gets she's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. That's inside. I'd say it's still. It's kind of a different issue. Basically, they should not be allowed to participate in the trading of stocks and whatnot.
Yeah, well, they're the ones making the fucking laws.
Exactly. Yeah. They can literally influence the economy.
Where they alone
not
get
just
wealthy.
Directly influence it. Yeah.
It's not just that. Congress people, a lot of people forget this. They also they're privy to knowledge we don't even have a lot of the times. Because of security reasons and whatnot, and so they know stuff. They know if there's going to be a deal with a military deal, and then they might invest in the stocks of
Pratt and Whitney
of some company. Yeah, it's and then they know. They know if there's an issue that hasn't gone public yet with the economy too, so they can get out of things.
There's another issue too. So politicians, I believe it's the president directly, or at least the executive branch. The FBI is the branch that would investigate these politicians. But the problem is they can change out who's in charge of the FBI. They can change out those, like, who
they pick.
Yeah, they're gonna pick the guy. It's like, what we have, essentially, our government, our federal government, is a cartel. Plain and simple. It's just it's a first world economy cartel. They got the best muscle in the world. They spend a lot of money on it. They own the legal system. They have all the backers. We have, like, if you look at the architecture of any cartel in Mexico, Colombia, our federal government mirrors them almost identically. Like,
I don't think it's that bad to be labeled a cartel.
Dude, it is that bad. Like, I don't see how you can't see it.
It's really bad. Don't get me wrong.
What makes it worse? What makes a Mexican cartel worse than our cartel?
I don't know if you've been keeping up with news from Mexico.
Oh, I do. Go ahead.
Violence is fucking insane.
Do you not pay attention?
The murder rate is insane.
So you just don't pay attention to what's going on here. You're looking over there like, oh, we're fine over here, but you're not seeing what we do. We silence people here, dude, all the time. We're just good at it. Dude wakes up dead. Oh, he committed suicide. I don't know how he put the rope around his neck while his hand was tied behind his back.
I keep thinking about the boys. This is something from the fucking boys.
They
hide shit all the time.
Yeah. Like, this is the shit we do. We're very good at hiding it here. We put everything we do is behind a curtain of reality TV. Like, there was an actor who ran down the street saying, they're trying to kill me, they're trying to kill me. Everybody, it was this whole thing back in the early 2000s. They all laughed it off as a joke. And then, a couple weeks later, he was dead. Like, straight up. And then they get swept under the rug. We do that shit here.
I would say...
I mean, and then, like...
What's, like... a lot of that, I'm not convinced, like, because if the evidence isn't as strong, like, that requires a lot of evidence.
Honestly, Epstein's Island is just far worse than any cartel. What any cartel does.
Yeah,
there
honestly,
you go.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a way larger scale.
MK Ultra, when we were testing psychedelics on...
That shit.
Yeah. Shooting depleted uranium around St. Louis back in the 1960s to test what happens when we do it. And cancer rates shot up. They estimate from the amount of people over the course of a few generations that have been in that area, like, from those effects, about 10,000 people had cancer. Over the course of 60 years. So, like,
yeah, it's terrible. These are terrible. But, like,
that's worse than the cartel. The only difference is it's just not in your face. It's not, I beheaded this guy.
Here's the thing, too, though, is you gotta think about... I think a lot of this might just come down to budget. Like, I think if the cartel had even close to the amount of money the fucking government has, they'd be doing way more fucked up shit.
And vice versa. If you take away the money our government had, if you tank our economy, you'd see our federal government doing some dicey shit.
Well, no. Well, I'm talking about, like, if you gave the cartel and the government the same amount of money, the cartel would be worse.
No, I'd say the cartel would do exactly what our government does. If they didn't have to display their violence openly, so, like, you see, our government doesn't have to rule through fear. They rule through a combination of fear, comfort, and they're like the boogeyman in your closet. Like, they'll come at you if they need to, but they are far more imposing and in the background. Like, they do a good job of that.
I see our government way more as a mixed bag than you do. I see there's a lot of bad, especially historically speaking. But I also see, like, a lot of, like, the positive.
There is no positive. Give me something. Give me anything.
You're really gonna try to argue that the government is good with Adam?
I've been preparing for this for years. Go ahead, hit me. Like, I live my life hating these people. I'm ready, Billy.
All right.
On-site violence.
Like, what do you want? You want, like, recent stuff?
Give me anything good. Anything. It could be from, I don't give a fuck. It could be from 100 years ago. Give me something. Give me anything.
100 years ago.
I don't give a fuck.
I think, like, we could talk about, like, relatively, like, infrastructure. Like, that's...
Are you kidding me? Our infrastructure is falling apart. We have bridges, roads.
Yeah.
We send millions of dollars for our roads specifically. let me break this down for you, Billy. Our infrastructure. How dare you? All right. You register your car to pay for the roads. You pay taxes on gas to pay for the roads. You pay taxes out of your income tax to pay for roads. A lot of, there's we pay 3 different taxes for our roads specifically. Yet walk down the road for a minute. There's potholes, there's shit. All that money's going somewhere, but it's not where it needs to go. Next.
It could be better. No, if you look at Elijah has traveled around the world. If you look at, all right, now obviously
you're talking about third world countries,
yeah.
Billy.
But
you're talking about third world, and that's the thing. That's kind of one of my things. Is the United States is a third world country with a first world cloak. I've been all over. This place is a third world country with first world technology and first world money, and that's just about it. Everything is. Most of our country is desolate. Most of the people are oppressed. We're a third world country, dude. We just have a nice polish over everything.
Yeah.
So, but our infrastructure is shit. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Connecticut is horrible, dude. Connecticut's horrible.
We were talking about that even on the way here.
Yeah.
I've seen
there was a pothole and they spray painted a white square.
Yeah.
Hey, watch out for this.
At least the city that we're in, right? I noticed that there's always traffic cones, there's always construction happening, but nothing ever gets done. There's this one spot, it's on a main fucking road. It literally normally it's 3 lanes, but for the past 6 months, it's just been 1 lane it says it's left, but it's so fucked up, and it's been like that for so long. They just haven't fixed it.
That's funny.
It's terrible.
Yeah, we the amount of money we pay versus what we get is obnoxious. I don't even know where the fuck that money's going. In fact, under Jody Rell, this is state government. We're not even talking about federal, by the way. Infrastructure has nothing to do with federal. This is all state.
Oh no, there's also federal stuff. So Biden passed the
majority of our infrastructure is handled through the state, though. The majority.
Yeah, no, for sure. But the federal government will allocate money to improve stuff,
quote unquote
the connections between state to state. So a lot of, because remember, we are also a lot of stuff.
So, interstate highways. They're not really owned by a state.
Let me backpedal a second here. All right. So one of the things I was about to say before that little detour was most of our infrastructure, our taxes, the things we pay, it's handled through the state. Most. It is. That's a fact. So all the money we pay, and then we had a governor a few years ago, Jody Rell. She was before Dan Malloy.
Malloy, there's a new guy now.
Yeah, I know. Before Dan Malloy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a notable name that most people will remember. Young people. I'm not sure a lot of people your guys' age would remember Jody Rell.
I've never heard of him. Yeah.
Jody Rell?
Never heard
I've never heard
yeah, it's a her. So, yeah, see, your age. So, Jody Rell was when I was in elementary school, middle school. She was the government before Dan Malloy. She was under investigation because she rose a lot of taxes in Connecticut, which still haven't gone back down. Car taxes, a lot of these things, and the CT fast track. It's those buses that go all over the place, the green buses.
Green buses.
Yeah.
CT fast track.
Yeah, I always got it's the one blue bus that I never see anyone in.
So that's a business actually. That's not a Connecticut bus system. The Connecticut bus system is known as CT fast track, and they're green buses. I forgot what it was. It was a few $1 billion she allocated through taxes, and only a portion of that actually went into the project, and she was under investigation for laundering that money.
Oh wow!
So that's bad. That's everywhere, just on the state level, and it's worse when you get up to federal. Hit me with another good one. Because I don't think you actually have anything, Billy.
Of course I have stuff. I think now here's the thing. There's always an argument for better, and the argument for better will be very clear with this next.
So I see. This comes from a perspective of standards. Your standards are shit. Is really what it comes down to.
You're saying your question was what are some good things?
Good. Actually good.
Now, if your question was, can you name great things?
See, I feel your perspective on our government is I don't want the dick in my ass. You're I'll take it as long as there's lube.
I think
that's
motherfucker.
Just give me a courtesy spit. That's
careful with the table, guys. Sometimes
Oh.
it shakes a lot.
I'm not even
Um,
touching the table.
My monster.
I'm touching the table.
But,
Yeah.
I feel like it might be your leg, though.
What?
I don't know. But anyway,
But
we gotta stop talking about technical difficulties.
we
while
got.
we're
You're
recording.
right. You're right.
I feel
We
like
shouldn't.
well, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I feel like your standpoint is more just like having a government is better than not having one.
Well, no, I'm trying to name specifically.
Good.
Like, I'm trying to
things.
name stuff the United States has done recently that have been
Give
good.
me objectively good things,
Um,
like that you believe to be objective, at least.
I think it was probably good for the United States for working class people. I'll name something good Trump did in his first few weeks of office. He pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal. Now, I'm not like an economist, just fair warning for all our viewers. I am not an economist, all right? But from my understanding, from what I've heard, there would be benefits to such a partnership. All right. Definitely there would be benefits, but essentially the effect it would have a negative effect on jobs. Like, basically, it would probably mean, if my understanding is correct, a lot of jobs would go overseas to the Pacific, meaning like Asian countries in the Pacific, China. I don't know. Actually, no, I'm not sure if China was actually part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But the poorer countries, like it's the same kind of issue that NAFTA faced, where it's like, okay, with this economic agreement, a lot of companies, if they could get cheaper labor in a different country, they're going to move to a different country for that cheaper labor. And instead of NAFTA is like the North American agreement, the Trans-Pacific Partnership was like with countries.
It was Australia, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia,
Malaysia.
Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, Vietnam, United States, and Brunei. Brunei. Brunei.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
China
No,
was-
I've heard of that from Civ 6, and that's it. It's not a Civ in Civ 6, but it's a city state, I think. I don't know.
I heard of it.
I forget where they spawn if you do a True Earth map. Nerd Talk, Civ 6, great game. I recommend it. It has some issues, but like overall, great game. Like you buy that game,
It's a Civilization,
guys.
right?
Yeah, Civilization 6.
6.
That's
Yeah.
the actual name of it.
Yeah.
Civ 6, that's the shortened version. You will get your money's worth. It has some issues, like design-wise, in my opinion, where it can improve, but you will. It's still a recommended game from me.
So that was something that's that's subjective. It's not an objectively good thing because
True.
Like that has good and bad.
It has some good and bad,
So-
but my understanding overall for working class people,
I
It
would
would
compare
be-
it to pulling out of NATO. Well, NATO is necessarily is like
whoa, you mean NAFTA?
no, I mean NATO.
NATO.
It's comparable if we pulled out of NATO. So
I mean, I
the conflict
guess.
with NATO is that like it's good. It helps a lot of other countries. Like it helps protect European countries, helps protect their interests. However, if we pull out, the reason why we would pull out of it is because we are not benefiting from it. Just like we were not benefiting from the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
No, we would benefit in a way. It's complicated economically.
We were getting taken advantage of in that situation. That's why you pulled out.
So, if you want objective thing, I'm not gonna lie. I just straight up looked up good things that the government has done recently, and I'm looking at the Biden-Harris records, top accomplishments. It says lowering costs of families' everyday expenses.
My ass. That's just a bold-faced lie. Everything's more expensive.
Okay, you know what? That is true. Yeah. Well, what about? Hold on. There was actually a decent one in here. Oh yeah. What about? Well, I know one of Biden's big things was having less like import, like more American-made products. That just helps our economy, right?
I mean, but everybody's still struggling economically. So a lot of these things they say, but all it is putting money in the pockets of their friends. So like they're still paying. Oh shit, we're working longer hours. They're producing more, but pay isn't being compensated. So really, they're just pushing us further into slavery, a type of corporate slavery. That's all that really means.
Right. What about protection for marriage in the LGBT community?
Oh boy, something they should have done 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that is an objective good though.
I mean,
like, there's no way that's not like.
I agree. However, it's almost like you don't get credit for doing your job sometimes. It's like, all right, you did one okay thing. Protecting rights, which is something they should have been doing. This shouldn't even have been a fucking debate. How about flip it, glass half empty?
Yeah, reversing the discriminatory ban on transgender service members in the military. Yeah. Strengthening non-discrimination protections in healthcare, housing, education, employment.
So that, to me, is fundamentally false, though, when they talk about the healthcare problem. Because regardless, you, me, someone who's trans, someone who's gay, someone who's black, someone who's white, someone who's a woman, someone who's a man. Doesn't matter where you come from. You and I all pretty much get the same medical treatments unless you're wealthy. They do not take your health as a priority. You do not get the best treatments unless you are extremely wealthy. We have a very classist healthcare system.
That's much true. Yeah.
There's actually a really good documentary that goes into, like, they had one really rich person and they had a rich person playing a poor person go in and talk about, go in for medical procedures, like, with the same exact issue, and they both got very different treatments.
What about this? Presidential pardon for all past crimes for, like, marijuana. Like, people who, they got into jail because of marijuana-related things, and now they're out.
See, that gets weird, though, because, like, how does that affect state levels? Because I don't believe California, like, pardoned them. Like, if it happened within the state. Like, federally, basically, all they did was pardon federal crimes relating to weed.
You sure about that?
That's all, like, I'm pretty sure they don't dictate what goes on in state levels when it comes to that type of stuff. Like, California
that might be true, yeah. I'm not sure if they would have the authority, if the federal government has the authority to affect state prisons. But,
yeah, I don't believe typically they do.
Yeah. But, like, there I do believe there are some good things, like, I was about to mention Obamacare. Now,
oh my God! Do not even get me.
But it's actually good. It's better than nothing. Obamacare is an improvement, but it's better. I would have preferred way better.
I would have preferred nothing.
You would have preferred nothing.
Well, yeah, because they were charging me every year for not having health insurance.
That's a very small charge.
It was $250 out of my tax return, which for a poor person, that could be a month. That could be like part of your food bill for the month.
Wait, $250?
$250 for the year if I didn't have health insurance.
You must have gotten. Damn, you got. I think the average person had to pay like $50 or $60.
No, it was $250 for everything.
It does say here there is a historic low of uninsured people at 8%.
Yeah,
because you to get health insurance.
Here's the thing, because our health insurance, our healthcare system in America sucks ass. I understand why it's at a historic low. That's why we needed more than Obamacare. We needed like a single payer healthcare system. Okay. That's it.
But Obamacare was one of those things that, like, you still had to pay if you made over a certain amount of money. But what if I didn't want to pay that either? What if I was fine with not paying for health insurance and I didn't want to pay that annual fee during my tax returns? What about that? Because I didn't really go to the doctors when I was younger. I didn't need to.
Okay.
It was my choice.
It's so funny you mentioned that. You mentioned when you were younger. Adam.
Well, yeah, because I have health insurance now through work. That's different. That's why I said when I was younger. It's if I didn't have health, like the only reason I have it now is because it's there. It's good health insurance. I don't know.
So part of the way you should look at healthcare is younger people should kind of, I would say, should get it in a way. Like,
dude,
I would be obligated to get it because they should be paying for themselves when they grow old. All right. Part of that,
because that ain't the way that works. It's not Social Security. You're not paying into a bank for yourself in the future.
You're not exactly. No, it's shared. It's shared, but you are in a way.
Hold on, let me make this clear. I don't like laws like that. I don't want to pay for someone else. Just like I don't like the free college thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Like, I don't want to pay through taxes because I don't want to. If I chose to not go to college and not put myself in debt, I don't want to raise our taxes. How much I'm paying every week.
The college one is there's definitely more of an argument there.
Okay, but it's the same exact thing for for Medicare. No, I'm not gonna. I shouldn't be forced to pay for someone else's health. What if I don't care whether another person lives or dies? That is
you
not
care
my problem.
If you live or die.
I don't even care about me, Billy. So where are we going with this?
Yeah.
I checked myself into a psych ward last year because I was contemplating just ending it. So where are we going with that?
But again,
my life, my choice. My
Yeah.
body, my choice.
Yeah. Again.
I'm not paying for someone else to feel better. It's not my care. Here in America, I have the right to be an asshole.
Yes.
That is a universal. It's why.
There's a good thing, protecting our freedoms.
None of them have ever really done that. All they really do is constrict more and more and more. They just keep
protecting your freedom. It's like it's a little.
It's
arbitrary.
a basic need, but I mean,
it's like bare bones.
Other
shit.
countries don't have that shit.
I mean, true. Yeah,
exactly.
it's better.
You think?
I wouldn't say it's arbitrary, Billy. It's their number one job. Plain and simple. It's not arbitrary.
Well, it seems like bottom of the barrel. It's like
for them, yeah. But in real life, that is the ultimate good. My freedom to not want to pay for someone else's healthcare, not pay for my own. Like, if I don't want to go into the pool, that's fine. Like, have everybody who wants to contribute.
Then here's the thing: if you don't go into the pool when you're younger, but then it's like, oh, now that I'm older and I'm starting to get health issues, now I want to go in the pool. It's like, wait a minute. You didn't help us out. Now you expect us to help you out?
Well, but even now, I wouldn't be on Obamacare. I have private insurance, Billy.
Yeah, you have private, but believe it or not, okay, Adam.
And but Billy,
private insurance actually kind of works the same way.
Billy,
in private insurance, this is what people don't understand about insurance. Insurance in general, it doesn't have to be health insurance. It could be car insurance. It could be whatever. People are paying. Fundamentally, mathematically, people are paying for each other.
See,
that is how insurance works.
So that is something I disagree with, personally. I don't like the way that works. The only reason I have health insurance now is because it's convenience through my job, and I don't really care. I also don't really use it. It is kind of a waste of money for me. Like, I don't go to the doctor. I treat my body like I treat my car. I treat it as well as I know how, but I don't want to take it to a mechanic, because when he opens the hood, he's going to be like, well, you got this wrong, and this wrong. I didn't need to know that information, dude. Actually, you have heart problems.
You probably should know that information.
I don't need to. I don't want to. That's a personal choice.
Ridiculous.
It's a personal choice. I'm allowed to have that.
I mean, yeah, you're allowed, but you shouldn't.
But why?
Yeah.
Why would you want that? Why would you not? In the case of something happening, like...
Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. Like you both had cancer, right?
I'm going to say, what happens if you get cancer tomorrow? What the fuck are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I'm hoping it's terminal, and I only have 4 months left to live, and I can do some reckless shit in that meantime. I know that's dark, but that's the way my brain operates.
Technically, any cancer can be terminal if you want it to be. If you don't want to treat it,
if you just
I don't even want the opportunity.
There you go. You don't want to have to go back and forth.
I don't want to think about it. Just make my choice for me. Like, God, take the wheel.
That is dark.
It is dark, dude, but I live a very dark existence myself. Like, I personally just don't...
Bro's gonna turn into Walter White. Like, actually, that's what I'm thinking right now. If you got cancer, you'd just be doing some fucked up shit.
Oh, I'd be robbing. I'd be living like the Wild West. Real life would become GTA. I'd be pulling people out their cars, driving them into buildings.
Fuck it.
Yeah, dude. Like, I have nothing to, like, what does it matter? Right now, I have to live to... But then if I go to prison now, I get prison healthcare.
Yeah. And you're stuck in prison for your next 3 months. Or
yeah, big deal. I did like 70 years worth of crimes, and I only
Isn't
get 4
that
months.
fucked up in a way? Like, it makes sense. Like, obviously, prisoners, most of them, they would not have any capacity to afford their own, like, private health care. But, like, in a way, it's fucked up because it's like, oh, they get free health care, but we don't.
Did you hear about that guy who had a really bad dental emergency? He needed to get fixed, otherwise it would have caused an infection and possibly, like, he was older too, so something like that could be deadly to older people.
Yeah.
He was like 60-something years old. This dude robbed a bank for $1 so he can go to prison and get medical treatment.
Damn.
That's fucking funny. No, I think a lot of people do actually go to prison just because, like, oh, free food, free housing.
I am for universal health care, but it's got to come out of our current budget. Like, I'm already paying enough. I don't want to increase the amount of taxes we're paying. But I also don't want to be fined for paying that. So anything I'm okay with. I'm even okay with free college as long as it comes out of the current budget. Which means
free college, funny enough, would actually be pretty easy. if you run the numbers, it wouldn't even compared to what our federal government
spends on military alone.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
This might be. I'm sorry. If
Well, I shouldn't say a drop in the bucket, but it's pretty manageable. Would be.
I'm sorry if this is like a little off topic and also like a dumb question, but like I'm genuinely curious. Why do we need taxes if the government can just print money?
Okay, because of inflation.
like dead serious.
So it's actually about the size of the economy. That's actually a funny thing I was thinking about the other day. You kind of get wasn't expecting to bring this up at all. So they were talking about this asteroid that we really want to mine. It's got cobalt. It's got iron. It's got a lot of fucking
like valuable minerals.
But it's worth like $18 quintillion.
Yeah.
In terms of resources. And
that
goes up too when you start mining it. So when you bring that here, you run the risk of flooding the economy. Or if you print enough money, now the economy is just bigger. It depends. Right now, it's about supply and demand and like things like that. So like
ultimately, I would say it's about resources. So like
it's about
money represents resources. At least it should.
It's just because we have a limited amount of resources on this planet.
Yeah.
The value comes from the fact that it's going to run out one day.
Well, the value comes from the fact that
supply and demand.
Yeah,
I guess it's
the supply. They're limited to some extent.
Yeah, like we have a shit ton of dirt outside, a lot of it, but it's worthless.
Yeah.
So
because of that.
There's no demand. People don't want it. Like it's just
the
there.
supply is so huge. It's the few times people might want it.
It's like free. Here, take it. Like you're only paying for us to dig it, really, and make a little bit of profit.
Yeah. No, freaking. So like, if you print a bunch of money, it's
it floods the economy.
Yeah. It really what the government wants is the resources. The money is just currency is just a way to basically manage resources. It's a way to manage resources between people. It's a way to manage resources between governments, between people and the government. That's all it is. It's like days...
If we just didn't have taxes,
then also,
the dollar kind of just become worthless.
And also the government doesn't print money. That is a misconception too.
So, it's actually due...
So our Federal Reserve,
yeah,
it's confusing. The word Federal Reserve seems like...
they're not part of
It's a private organization. Yeah, it's a business. So when the government wants to print money, they go to them with... I forgot what it's called. It's like bonds, basically. So they say, hey, we want you to print $100. So like this is... If I erase all the money right now. Let's start from scratch. Government goes up and says, hey, we want you to print $100. Here's this. And basically this is like a representation to pay them back at a later time. If it was the gold standard, we'd be giving them gold, but we run on a credit standard. So basically they have an open tab with something that represents that, like, you owe us this.
Yeah, it's a bond. Right?
Yeah, it's like a bond. So like, but then they're like, we'll print you $100. You give us a bond that's $100, but you owe us $120 for interest. So basically, we have a perpetual debt with our Federal Reserve that can never be paid off. The people
literally cannot. They're the ones printing it.
Yeah, and you can't ever create... Like, if you want to pay them back, because you can't pay them back in bonds, you have to pay them back in the money that
actual money.
Money.
So you would have to balance the budget in a way where
you couldn't pay them.
Part of our taxes get saved to pay it off.
Well, you couldn't ever do that, actually. It's not even that. It's worse than that. So say, like, we keep it at $100. You have $100. You only have $100, but you owe them $120.
Yeah.
Even if you give them that $100 back, now you have no money. You still owe $20.
Well, theoretically, they could fix that by raising taxes.
No. There's no Billy. There's no money. He's the government. That $100 represents all the money in the economy. That $100 is all that there is. There's no money to pay that tax.
Yeah.
That $100 is absolute. That is all. Like right now, he just paid back the Federal Reserve, and the people have no money. He is the government, the people, the country.
And funny, I think the only way to fix that would be if you just didn't use money for that. So, if you use trade, but that's just so impractical.
There is a thing actually. The contract. This was set up during the Great Depression. It's what got us out of the Great Depression. That combined with World War II. we have it. Basically, the way that contract is written, it's really fucked. The responsibility to pay back that money falls upon the people. And on your birth certificates, if you look closely, there is a thing. It is a mark that is also found on items in the stock market. We are publicly traded items. We haven't been, but we could be.
This sounds ridiculous.
You can pay back the Federal Reserve with people in labor.
There you go.
It is a thing. You pay them back with labor. Basically, we're slaves.
This is ridiculous.
It is a thing, though. It sounds ridiculous. But why do you think I say they do not care about you? Like, they are quite... It's so insulting. Because they are quite literally lining their pockets on our backs. That is the most insulting thing. That's why I can't even imagine why you think they're even good. The fact that y'all are looking up good things about our government, man, they need to be lynched.
I don't even think this, like, I don't even think the government is good. I just think it's still better to have some regulation than just fucking anarchy. I feel like people...
The more I talk, the more I'm getting to you.
We've debated this before, but I still feel like if you just had, like, individuals left to their own devices, there would be way more fucked up shit happening. Like, at least the fucked up shit is...
sure.
At least the fucked up shit is...
Some
I don't think that's
compartmentalized
true.
into the rich people.
I don't think that's true at all, actually. I think a lot of the fucked up shit would just be more in your face.
This is the human nature debate.
Like, it's not a, like, it's human nature, but, like, I think it's just kind of, like, hypocritical to think that, like, good can only be achieved with government. Like, oh, like, if you, like, that's not happening currently. It's just not in your face. It's hidden behind a cloak. It's just like when you get your chicken, you don't kill the chicken yourself. You buy it that way. It's all hidden from you.
No, hold on.
It's a reality TV show.
We didn't say that good can only be achieved through government.
Well,
we're saying it's better.
No, it isn't better.
There's an improvement.
No, I would argue it's actually worse under a government. I'd say government is responsible. The more power, the bigger the government, the more dangerous it becomes. The more dangerous it can turn into. Like, you think the Holocaust would have happened if you just had if it was just anarchy all over the world? No. You would have They wouldn't have sent up death camps, factories, putting people on trains.
It wouldn't be death camps, but like it would add up. I think it would add up to millions.
But it wouldn't have been. It would have had the evil connotations of, like, we don't like this group of people.
As evil, it would be more.
It would just be more. It would be more.
Some of it would be.
It would be more out of desperateness, out of, like, what was anti-Semitic or racist.
It wouldn't be okay. Well, I think there would be. Yeah, I think, like Billy was saying, like, about that rate of, like, killing. It wouldn't be considered genocide.
Here's the thing.
It would just be murders all over the place.
Fundamentally, I don't think, in a way, I don't know if it's actually kind of really hard to have, like, a libertarian, no government system.
Hold on, libertarian is you can't say
more complicated.
You can't say libertarian and then no government. Libertarian is a type of government. It's a type of government.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
Libertarian is just
very reduced.
It's just very reduced.
I've heard people call themselves libertarian, and they're saying no government. Are those people wrong?
Anarchist and libertarian kind of go hand in hand a lot of time, but, like, it's truly, like, no government. That's anarchist.
Adam, I've heard people identify as libertarian, but what they want is no government. So
okay, those are just, there's a lot of confused people. They're just confused people.
Okay.
So libertarian is a type of government. You have a political graph where it's at the top you have authoritative, and at the bottom you have libertarianism. At the left you have at the left and right you have right-wing economics and left-wing economics.
Yes, yeah.
So, like, the United States is authoritative right-wing. Stalin is authoritative left-wing. Thomas Jefferson would be right-wing economics, towards the bottom middle of the graph, like closer to libertarianism. Like that, libertarianism is like Noam Chomsky is a left side economic libertarian. So basically, it's government regulation over the economy, but people have the freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. There's a lot of balance and a lot of political views on this Anarchy is when you burn that graph.
Yeah,
like
I
it's
suppose.
it's getting rid of all of that entirely.
But here's the thing.
Now,
I
I
think,
do disagree with your guys' idea, and I think this is something still in us to to make us feel like we need them. That anarchy is that human nature is to kill, rape, pillage, burn.
I think you trust human nature too much.
I think you trust government too much.
Look,
I'm not saying
really
devastating
quickly,
shit when
Aren't you talking about the reason that these politics?
maybe he's not. Hold on, I just thought of something. It actually goes back to something I was saying earlier. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I just thought of something. I don't think you real. I think what might actually happen, in a way, Adam is right to trust human nature, because I think this is what would happen if you burned the political compass. So if you just got rid of government and it was like anarchy, I think some people would have a good enough nature to form their own fucking governments. It'd be like instead of police, it'd be like
that's why I say burn it to the ground. I'm not an anarchist forever. I'm not an anarchist forever type of guy. That's impossible. I believe that systems have to go. Like when a forest burns down, a new forest grows in its place.
Yeah.
Like disorder is the natural order. So what we have now is stagnant corruption. We live in corporate slavery, a capitalistic dystopia. But if you burn it to the ground, yeah, you might have 5, 10, maybe 20 years of hard living, fighting to survive. I'm hungry. That dude has food. I need food. I'm gonna either die getting that food, or or something's gonna happen.
He's gonna die defending it. Yeah.
But very quickly after that, people organize into groups. People inherently know that we do need each other to survive. Sometimes when you're staring at an apple and there's 2 groups, our group and another group of 3 are staring at an apple. One of us is going to say, hold on, guys. Instead of killing each other now, how about we plant the seeds and we all have apples? Agriculture is one of the things that unites us, realistically.
I think the problem, though, especially with that analogy with the apple, is that I think human nature is too bad for that to happen. Because I'm thinking before there would be that one person who says, let's spread the seeds, there'd be one motherfucker who would kill the entire enemy team.
So there are...
That would be the first thing that would happen. I think if there was straight anarchy, every day would be the fucking purge.
I think it would be a mix.
There'd be people that hunker down, the nice people who would just hunker down, try to fucking survive, and then there'd be half the fucking people who are going out killing and raping and doing fuck shit. But then that's the
beauty of it. You separate the good and evil. Now you allow Darwinism to kick into play. The good people have to be willing to kill those bastards. You have to be like the good people now learn that that hard times create strong men, and you have to hard. They do. They fucking do.
To an extent, I would say
that is true.
Like you quickly boil. Like when you're trying to separate something chemically. You gotta boil all the shit to the top to scrape it off. You gotta scrape the foam off. You gotta scrape the impurities out. And that happens naturally. You have to let nature do its thing. I'd say you're not trusting human nature enough. I'd say that, like, the people who really want that are, like, 1 in every 500.
I think...
That's enough, though, to fuck everything up.
That's not... That 500... See, that's enough today, because people today are sheep. People today are comfort sheep. No, not in an anarchist environment. Those people will quickly learn to defend themselves. Will quickly learn to root those people out. And then there's another fucked up factor. You have a couple people who slip into those groups who try to rule the community from the shadows, like our friend Billy over here.
Ridiculous.
Like, it's like human nature is not. I think they really just like they feel.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem. It's like you're saying. Basically, the crux of it is this: there's a balance in nature, right? And it's not just human nature, but it includes human nature. A balance of cooperation and competition. All right, because both of those things can be good and bad, and and that's the fucked up part. ideally, like if everyone were enlightened, we would all just cooperate on everything.
Yeah, that's utopia. It's not possible.
But I think we're only
it's idealistic.
I think
it's a lot more possible. The Purge, anarchy.
I think
the Purge in a way is also a little bit silly. A lot of that is almost total competition. Right?
And that doesn't happen.
That's because there's no government. That is a lot more fucking likely than us working together.
See, I think that's actually quite the opposite. I think that we are not working together currently. Like when I get up in the morning, my goals aren't to help anybody but myself. Currently, right now, we are living in possibly the most selfish time in history.
Well, I don't debate or yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah, like what we're living in is like we're being ruled and subjected by a higher power.
This is our system. It's like a weird system. Individually, it encourages everyone to be as competitive as possible, but
within reason.
Yeah, exactly. And there's rules of how you can be competitive, and then
but they set up the rules to be in their favor too.
Somehow, it's supposed to come together in a cooperative way to form a country, and it's like
it doesn't though.
Yeah, and to me, I see room for improvement.
See, what we have now, in my opinion, what you have now, the thing you're talking about, the thing you fear, which is the 1 out of 500 that are going to pillage, you basically, with the system we have in place, you basically give them everything they need to flourish, and we can't fight back, is the problem. Like, Mark Zuckerberg, every fucking politician in office, every single billionaire, all these people are those raiders, are those bandits, are those people who would kill you for the apple. And we gave them protection. We have people who protect them with guns, and we created a system where you're not allowed to compete with them, and they set up the rules that you're allowed to play. Like, I don't know about you, but I'd rather be on equal footing at a certain point.
Okay. Well, it's weird because on equal footing, right? If you gave everyone the same amount of like just materials or weapons or whatever the fuck, the person who wants to kill and do whatever is just automatically going to have more power, I think, because they're actively trying to fuck everyone else.
A lot of the times, you're right. It's weird. If you look at a lot of times in nature, there is it's a weird balance thing. The people that are, if you're too competitive, and you're so competitive, because remember, numbers also matter. So if you're so competitive that you don't form into a large group or into some sort of sizable group, then it's detrimental. It's bad. You're probably going to die, and that with that ideology, it's
how we got. It's how we got here. We learned thousands of years ago, cooperation works better. Like if that's the case, we wouldn't have gotten here if we never left our.
That's actually cooperation. Even early societies like that, like that's cooperation because of the fact that we had regulation
That's not true at all. I'm talking about
prevent fucked up shit.
That's not true at all. I said thousands of years. I'm talking about going back before civilization, when we were nomadic monkeys traveling around eating fruits and shit, killing deer and whatnot. We learned that cooperation is better than every monkey for himself.
So what you're saying? So let's take like.
But that's not exactly true.
Let's take.
If it wasn't true, we'd still be in the caves fighting each other.
So let me see. Let me say this. So you're talking about like nomadic eras, like when we just had like clans, when we were basically like monkeys,
tribes,
right? So you're telling me
I wouldn't say we were like monkeys.
We can't like. When we were less developed,
nomadic.
When we were in tribes, okay?
Yeah.
You're telling me that there was not a single fucking time where, say you have a tribe, right, who they're doing what they need to do, they're working together, like hunting, gathering, all that shit. You're telling me there wasn't at least one time where one other fucking, like, person came over.
I'm not arguing that there wasn't. I wasn't talking about, like, that doesn't make it. That one time.
Well, you're saying, in that's your analogy, that one person would just join.
What I'm saying is cooperation wins. And it did, because we're here. It did win. Yeah, you might have had one dude. who went to go fuck shit up, but he either died or submitted to
Adam.
cooperation.
I see what you're saying. Ultimately,
But that's
I
how-
kind of agree. But there's you can't deny. If
I'm
you
not
look at-
denying any of that. You guys are just putting words in my mouth.
No. But there's a lot of times where there's an
I
opportunity.
agree there's evil and that people are going to capitalize on that for sure. Not denying that. And I don't care about that. To me, that's a non-factor. It's irrelevant. Because people do that now with protection. It does not matter. Like, people do that now every single day. You, me, every other motherfucker in this country that's working class is being actively, every day, right now, someone is working against our interests. Right now. The only difference is, I don't know it, it's behind the scenes, and I'm not allowed to shoot them. That's it. That's the only difference. There's rules to protect them. If I do something that, like, to me, what they're doing, I deem should be lynched for. In an anarchist environment, I'm allowed to be judge, jury, and executioner. And if I have to do that, and I'd prefer that, because I have the power to do that. What I have now is I'm handcuffed, I'm being fucked in the ass, and I can't do
And
anything about it.
What I'm hearing in that, like, analogy, right? So, let's say, this is all hypothetical, of course, right? I don't want to get fucking arrested, right? So, let's say there is someone doing that fucked up shit, right? That's, like, behind the scenes. And you want to go kill that person for whatever the fuck they do, okay? What if someone else sees you do that, and they're like, that's fucked up, I don't like that. They kill you. And then that cycle just keeps on fucking going.
Well, that's war.
I think, well, that's anarchy.
Well,
That's what happens. Someone kills a person,
But that's not
someone
just,
doesn't
that's
like
not,
that,
that's
keeps
not,
going.
that's not limited to anarchy. That's just humans.
True.
We just do that all the time. We do that all the time. But the difference is, what we have now is, whether you want to admit it or not, we have the same human nature, but evil people have protection. I would give up all of my safety so they don't have any.
I see exactly what you're saying, Adam. And if I saw it the same way you did, I would come to the same conclusion.
Like, I do not see the light at the end of the tunnel that all
That's
this
the thing.
will
I
work
think
out.
that's what we disagree on.
There is
we
no...
kind of see a bit of light, and you see nothing.
I see that...
At least I see light. I don't know about you. What do you think, Dave?
I think that light at the end of the tunnel is false, in my opinion. I think that's
It's
misguided.
just some retard with a match.
What was
It's
that?
it's like, oh, the light in the tunnel, and then you come, it's like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
And it's just some guy holding a match. Oh, sorry.
Well, they're doing it on purpose to trick you. They're making you see a light at the end of the tunnel. In reality, there's
No, but
nothing
it's
there.
like some
manu-
retard.
no-
It's not a guy doing it on
No,
purpose.
it's manufactured.
Oh,
That
it's
light you see at the end
manufactured.
of the tunnel, they instill hope, patriotism, nationalism in you on purpose. They want to make you believe all this is worth it, that it'll work, that it's for you, that the government is here to help. They're not. They're not. Like, I would rather give up all of my safety for all of the freedom and take away the people who don't deserve any safety. Now, I think the majority of us deserve safety, deserve
Yeah.
a good amount of freedom, deserve the ability to flourish. But we have now is a system that I believe can't be fixed. We're just banging our head against the wall, wondering why it isn't working. And it's not working because we have corruption and evil people. Straight up. Like, honestly, I go as far as saying that I believe a lot of these people aren't even human anymore. That because they've been inbreed.
the lizards.
Well,
The robots, the androids.
more like the inbred people in West Virginia. You know, like they've been fucking, like rich people have been fucking their cousins and other rich families for so long. They're all pretty much related, and they've been inbred, drinking in Roman times. The same families that can be traced back to those times were drinking wine that they put lead in to sweeten it. Like they were drinking, like if you were rich, you had
that was
piping.
a common thing in Rome.
If you were wealthy, you had piping, you had running water, but the pipes were made out of lead. So they've been drinking lead water, drinking lead wine, fucking their cousins for the last 2,000 years. They're not even human anymore. They're diverged. They are a little bit over there.
Human,
No, they're not. I bet I couldn't even breed with them, dude. My DNA.
Obviously, you could.
No, well, all right, like a liger, but I don't think that thing would reproduce.
No.
Like that thing would be like sterile,
Yeah.
half human. What is that? It'd be weird too. We wouldn't even know how to exist. It's like I have compassion. Yeah, I want to take advantage of everybody. What is this?
man. Here's the thing, though. I think
complex. This is such a complex issue because I don't want to say like it's so weird because I don't really like the government either. I just don't think that anarchy is the solution to that. I feel like there should be something. Like maybe if it just wasn't called government. Like
no, obviously that would changing the name isn't gonna
I don't mean just changing the name. Like change the systems in place. Like it's such a complicated issue because I don't know how you would do it. It's just my instincts are telling me that both of them are bad, but I don't have an answer for it. Like it's so weird.
Oh no,
it's about what
tricky.
For me, it's not about one's objectively good or bad. For me, it's like they both have bads. It's about what I'm willing to deal with. Like, I'm willing to deal with the consequences of anarchy, and I very likely know I would not actually survive very long. Most of us won't.
You just thinking for the greater good.
For the greater good, I believe that that is the quicker route.
It's a very principled position, obviously.
I tend to try to be very...
I don't know. I guess my pacifist brain is thinking greater good means, less people dead.
Me too.
Less people dead, raped, and robbed.
I'm in the same.
I mean,
because I am very much.
We're all going to end up dead
for self-defense.
We're already being raped.
No, Adam, I can see.
But it would be a much higher rate.
I can see your point.
Much higher.
I can see your point, Adam, to a large extent. I just fundamentally, I guess I just see everything differently enough that. Almost using this very similar logic, I just come to a different conclusion because I see things differently.
I think you have a level of optimism that I don't have when it comes to this. Like
I have a level of optimism for if we don't tear things down, and I guess I'm a little like Dan. I have some amount of pessimism if we did tear things down, how much better it'd get. Here's the thing. When you tear things down, you do have an opportunity for better. You have a big opportunity for better in a way. It's one of the interesting side effects. We've seen this in history. A lot of times...
the Roman Empire falls, you get the Renaissance.
But then you had the Dark Ages, right? So it's like...
But that's in my mind,
so-called Dark Ages, I should say.
It's worth it. The Dark Ages are called the medieval times, like to put it a little more positive. Like you lose a little bit, but then you gain a lot more. I feel like, and it's definitely worth it in the long run. And it's not this like purge meets raping, pillaging. Honestly, I feel like in this environment, with the people we have today, because you got to remember, it's not going to be the same as it would be. Years ago, I feel like people today in most countries are more enlightened than we were a long time ago. Like, I'm not my ancestors.
Well, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
There are people back in the day, it was like, it would be acceptable. So much stupid shit. They were way more. I mean, a lot of people are stupid now. Okay, it's actually
just okay. I guess my issue with it, right? So there's. All right, think about the amount of criminals that we have now, and that's with all this regulation and laws and shit.
How many of them are actually criminals, though? Let's be real. Like, there's a lot of people in prison are in prison for dumb shit, like peddling drugs.
But also think about how many people aren't in prison that should be. I think it balances out. If you take a group of 100 people, random people, randomly selected all over the world, what's the chances that one of them is a fucking psychopath? It's 100%. I think a lot of psychopaths just fucking hide it very well. That's kind of their thing.
Well, yeah, I'm sitting right here.
Yeah. I think...
God damn it, Adam.
There would be, in a group of 100 people, at least one or maybe a few of them are super fucked up. And if there's no regulation or laws saying that they can't do that kind of shit, they're gonna do it. Like, look at fucking Homelander. Like, I love bringing up the boys. I love bringing up the boys in this type of shit because
it has a lot of good symbolism. Have you watched?
How many seasons?
I'm up to I'm in the middle of season 3.
Okay, I only watched season 1.
So slight.
Should I watch 2 and 3?
Oh, dude, it's okay. Phenomenal fucking show. One of the best shows I've ever seen. I'm gonna give a slight spoiler for the boys right now. Not a very big one. So if you haven't watched it, just skip.
I
like
haven't
a
watched
few
season
minutes.
3 yet, so
So I haven't watched anything past
Slight.
season 1.
Okay, well, it's not even like an event that happens. It's more just how they change the character.
Okay.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's basically like because season 1 and 2, if you look at Homelander, like he is like objectively in that show the most powerful person on the planet. Nobody else can do what he does. Okay, and he's being controlled by Vought, this big corporation, right? Basically, the government is what it stands for.
Right.
And he is the most powerful person. He can do whatever he wants. He just chooses not to because of, these ties. One day, season 3, he just kind of snaps and realizes, I can just kill people I don't like. And he just starts doing it. He literally just starts doing whatever the fuck he wants. Because he can. I think there would be a lot of that going on. Like, obviously, this is a science fiction show, right? This is not, they're not real life superheroes. But I feel like shit like that would happen. 100%.
but that's kind of the problem we have now.
Adam
Is
admits that, though, in an anarchist system.
I feel like the bad of that way outweighs the good.
But hold on, I
Wait.
connect that more to what we have now, actually. The lack of anarchy. We have people now in power who have that protection, who realize they can do whatever the fuck they want, and actively do kill people that they want to. Like, they do. Like, they straight up go after people who go against their interests, who speak out against the government. A lot of people go missing. A lot of people commit suicide, quote unquote, that were actively protesting or speaking out against real issues with the government or accusing them of things, and then they go missing. Epstein didn't kill himself. Key fucking examples. Like,
I mean,
there's
in
more
certain areas, I agree. In
So
certain
what I'm trying
other
to-
areas,
what-
I'm not sure if there's enough evidence.
What I'm
for
trying to
me,
do is
personally.
and that's the optimism taking over, because I don't give them.
I
don't
agree
gi-
with Epstein, but like,
So
and I agree with some other stuff, but
So,
then
Do
other
you want to
stuff.
retract? I agree with Epstein.
No, I agree with your point.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think
Someone's going to take that shit out of
Personally-
context.
Oh yeah, I'll just make that a short.
you're gonna make that. I agree with
2-second
Epstein,
clip. Yeah.
and then I make a short. Fuck you, Adam.
Fucking. Well, like what I'm
But
trying to
what
do
I-
in my
what I-
mind is strip Homelander of his powers.
You can't.
Oh, I can take if the government didn't exist, they would not have these powers. That is.
But he already has it.
Oh yeah, but like the
cat's
same
out of the
way.
bag on that.
I mean,
one.
you said yourself that, if you want to go buy a tank and you have the money, you should be able to.
well,
And which by the same token, that means the government couldn't take it away. You have that power, so you have it. Like,
what I'm saying is like Homelander's powers are representative of the government being the government. Take away the government, they're just people. Just like if you take away Homelander's powers, he's just a dude who's done fucked up shit. Just like if you take away the government, their protection, their influence, their money, their connections. If anarchy reigns, they fall. Just like if you take away Homelander's powers, he falls. It's kind of like this. Like, to me, Homelander is representational of government.
but what if you have so much power to the point where no one can do anything about it?
Well,
That's what I see with Homelander. Replace his laser eyes and his flight with fucking tanks.
Well, that's
what
like-
are you gonna do?
Well, Homelander in
Like-
the comic books dies eventually, so he can't be taken out, just like the government can't fall.
Can't be. Yeah, but
Spoiler warning.
Well, the
That-
comic
that's-
book
that's
is
the
very
comics.
different.
Yeah.
From the
like the series on
But
Prime has
maybe-
not even ended yet. So.
Yeah, but maybe people don't even want to know what happened.
Well, hold on. No,
Well,
no,
the
like that. I
watch
guarantee.
the show. Don't read the comics.
No, the
shit.
comic book is like
so
it's not
bad.
like Invincible, where the comic book mirrors the show. The comic book for the boys is entirely different.
Basically, all they did was take characters' names and then it made an entire different show out of it. Like the comic is so shit. Like
Man.
I wouldn't say it's shit.
I'd say it's shit. It's just like, okay, I won't lie, I didn't read it, but it's just like there's so many weird choices they made with it. Like,
Well, like like when Homelander busts inside a woman, the sperm goes through her
yeah,
dome
or
piece.
when he eats a fucking baby, like that's another thing. He ate a baby in the fucking.
Well,
comics.
stay tuned.
Why-
That could still
like,
easily happen in the
how?
show.
Like, did he
What do you mean
expand
how?
his
He fucking
mouth?
ate it. He just ate it.
He just ate it.
Yeah,
Like one would eat like a bucket of chicken wings.
pretty much.
Wow.
When
Well,
he
More
nut
like someone eating a fucking steak with their bare hands, but yeah.
Billy, he nut inside a woman in the comic books, and the sperm was so powerful it shot through her body out the top of her head. And you see in the comic book, it's him there, her dome piece destroyed like a shotgun blast went through, and
Also-
sperm coming out.
You watched, So
There's
both
kind
of
of
you,
fucking
both of you have
hilarious.
seen The Boys, right?
Yeah.
Like the actual show. So you know,
First season.
you know Mother's Milk.
Yeah.
You know how they explain that in the show? Just his last name is Milk, so they gave him like.
I thought
that's
they were
that's just a
joking,
nickname.
no?
No,
His last name is
in
Milk.
the show. Yeah, his last name is Milk, and that's where he
Okay.
gets it. You know why he has that name in the comics?
Why?
Because apparently, what? Oh my god! I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about him drinking breast milk.
Well,
That's why his name is Mother's Milk in the comics.
I think that was a thing in the show too.
No, fuck no.
Wasn't he? Well, hold on, that woman in the first season wasn't he like? Wasn't she? Didn't she take out her tit and he was like?
Homelander was doing that. Not MM. Not fucking.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they
That's what
took
I'm saying.
elements. They took elements and mixed them around all over the place, though. Like some of the it's still he was still Homelander was sucking on a tit, like because of the way that she brainwashed him in a way to make him less violent. She tried to instill motherly instincts, like try to bond maternally with him.
Now there's kind of just real spoilers for The Boys, but
That's season 1. Anybody hasn't seen it, you're fuck you.
But it's not. Well, okay, Homelander drinking the breast milk. That's not that lady's fault. Her name is Stillwell. That's not Stillwell's fault. That's on Homelander. Homelander grew up in a lab. He had no parents. He's using her just for maternal fucking.
Well, I mean that that CEO woman, the older woman. Remember that episode where she had sex with him, but she whipped out her tit and he was sucking on her tit?
Yeah, Stillwell. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He is the one doing that. That has nothing to do with her.
Well,
she said
no, she did that to instill maternal instincts in him to make him less violent, to create a bond with him because he's impossible to rein in.
I thought that he was basically forcing her to do that because she, like I said,
she was trying to calm him down. She was trying to get him under control. He was throwing kind of a Homelander tantrum, about media, and she's like, "It's okay, come here," and yeah.
Well, she said her dying words were basically just, "Oh yeah."
That was later. This is earlier than that. That was later on when she dies. This was
she dies at the end of season 1.
Well, yeah, but this was in the beginning of season 1, season 2 or 3, early on in that. That's towards the end. But when she when she gives him that blowjob too, all in that same fucking thing. I could be mixing something up. I'm pretty sure he was sucking on her tit.
No, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So so she was trying to. From my understanding, she was when he was a specimen in their labs. One of the things they tried to do to make sure that because he had a hydrogen bomb strapped to his chest. They were afraid of him.
Yeah.
So one of the ways psychologically, the way you would bond with a little boy would be to create a maternal bond. So she took it upon herself to make that maternal bond with him.
Well,
I forget the first season.
Nobody even I remember
rewatched
he was just in the lab with the bomb. I'm pretty sure until he hit his teen years, nobody even he had no physical contact. I think that's So
yeah, they were afraid of him.
I guess
so.
This would be a maternal
I just thought of something. Actually, now I thought of 2 things. Damn.
What are they?
Okay. I just thought of something. It's almost like what level. I feel like maybe a little bit of chaos can be good. I don't know if a lot of chaos is good.
If you let people do whatever they want, they're gonna do fucked up shit. At least some of them.
If we did where it's nuclear war levels of chaos.
I think there's lines. I see where your brain's going with this. Hold on. So there's lines. And I've thought about this a lot.
Okay.
I thought about this a lot. If it's partial, just massive devastation, but not a total collapse, I believe things would actually get much worse. Much, much worse.
But if you think if it's a total collapse...
If I think it's a total... But there's different levels to total. Alright, I don't just mean the government, poof, resources stop moving, I mean, that is a type of total collapse for sure. Resources stop moving, there's no government, there's no sanitation,
right?
There's no water department, public
total collapse, yeah.
That kind of total collapse.
Fallout.
That could be... No, that's a different type of total collapse. So I just mean...
Fallout had the Enclave?
I mean if Fallout didn't have nuclear bombs. Like, there's different types of collapses. So you can have a collapse where everything collapses economically. Like, say we get hit with a solar flare. This is a great example, actually. Say we get hit with a solar flare. Knocks out the electrical grid. Sanitation.
That's not a total.
The whole on this,
It would,
you're
it
going to let me
probably would
finish.
turn into one.
It can turn into one really fast.
It would turn into
And
one.
I don't think it
solar
would.
flare is the worst total collapse you can get. So, Billy.
I disagree.
Well, hold on. I'm not even done.
But go on.
You didn't
I
let
already
me, you
disagree,
didn't,
but
you
go
didn't
on.
let me break down the chain. You think that we would recover from that. Depends on how bad the solar flare is. A really bad solar flare, one that knocks out the entire electrical grid. Like,
For the world?
for the world.
The world.
That can
that's-
happen too.
That's fucking... Yeah, that's anarchy.
Like, people can't drive because you can't pump gas into your car because gas stations aren't working. You can't call anybody. Clean water isn't working. People can't go to work. Government's trying to get control of the situation, but they can't because there's no communication, no TV, no radio. Like, so what they would do, they would round people up. FEMA would intervene. You would have a type of enclave going into action. You would have panic. You would have people raiding stores. You would have, like, this is the worst total collapse you would get.
No.
Hold on. And
Go on.
the best one you would get is actually the nuclear bomb. Because what happens is, if you devastate people far enough, if you drop bombs everywhere, New York, if you drop 5 in New York, 2 in Connecticut, 2 in Massachusetts,
Everywhere.
everywhere. Like, you have so little people that are unaffected by it. You have people dying very rapidly. But then over the course of the next couple of years, you end up with smaller pockets of civilization that needed to cooperate to survive.
I'm so sorry. I apologize because I was misunderstanding what you're saying. You agree the nuclear bomb version, it'd be more collapsing than the solar flare version.
No, he's saying the opposite.
I'm saying they're both total collapses. There's just different types of total collapses.
Because the solar flare one, it would be
A
a
total-
type where there's still a kind of a government and they're still trying to control everyone. The nuclear bomb one, there's basically none of that. is
Well,
what
hold
you're
on.
saying.
The government
I'm
would-
confused. In what way are they different for you?
they're very different. They're very
Okay.
different, but they're two total.
Fundamentally, how they differ
They are
fundamentally.
two total collapses. Casualties. Any total collapse with minimal casualties ends up in the long run being worse.
I see what you're saying.
Whereas if you
I
have
know
more
what-
casualties from the initial event, like, I think you would have more raping, more pillaging, more looting, more rioting with the solar flare version
You
than when
yeah.
you would with the nuclear bomb.
Fine.
Then you would have
I
people
guess.
scared, like, what the fuck just happened? I need to work with, and you would have people having to cooperate to survive. Whereas if you minimize casualties, it doesn't seem real to people yet.
I think where I'm coming from is because how would you transition from what we have now into the anarchist society? Because what I'm thinking is it would be a lot like the solar flare, where, like, I guess the worst case scenario is just, the government just fucking shuts down, and then people are like, what the fuck is this? Now I'm gonna go out and,
Yep.
fuck up shit.
So,
Like, just imagine if it's just, like, if the solar flare happened right now, no electricity, there would be people in the streets killing each other, like, 100%.
Oh yeah, within the first, I watched a documentary on this, and they were like in the first week you would have raping, pillaging, looting, rioting. You would have people storming buildings. Whatever government was left would be wiped out.
Yeah.
But if you don't give people an opportunity to do that, if you increase casualties a lot, and the nuclear bomb is the one that would do it, you would force people
to focus on survival.
focus on survival. Whereas right now they're more or less, with the solar flare, they're more or less reacting to a bad situation, whereas you wouldn't give them the opportunity to react in that way with a nuclear bomb.
So
This is
then
weird.
so what
It
you're
is
saying
weird. It's counterintuitive. It's like you're fighting against a current in a way.
Here's the thing. I don't see...
I have a disagreement, but I'm sorry. Dave, go on.
See, here's the thing. If you're talking about you want an anarchist society, right? I think both of those are a net bad, 100%. Because with one of them, it's like you're leaving people to their own devices.
I agree with Dan.
You're leaving people to their own devices immediately, which means they're going to do fucked up shit, and the numbers are slowly going to go down, right? With the nuclear bombs, yes, there would be a lot more cooperation immediately, but this is also you're
the
talking
amount of people
entire
that would die. Yeah,
billions of casualties.
exactly.
Billions.
So
in
like,
an instant.
how could you like?
How can that be good?
It would be a net negative at the end.
Like people
because of
would,
all the people that
people
die,
would
yeah.
be more cooperative. If that's what it takes for people to be more cooperative, I think my point is already made. Honestly,
Ye of little
So-
faith. Ye of little faith.
I think you have too much.
See, I think that would actually be, compared to what we have, a net positive.
Long term.
billions of casualties.
We have way too many people as it is, dude. I'm
I have a
I'm willing to be
fundamental-
one of them if it needs to happen.
I have
but
a
like-
fundamental disagreement with you, Adam. I think long term, the nuclear version would be worse.
No.
long term.
Wrong. I will rebuttal that. What would happen? Think about it. You have more problems to deal with now. You have nuclear reactors that are going to be melting down. You have people that are. You would reduce the population from what it is to 2,000. But that few thousand, they're going to have to work together. And they will. And they're going to have to advance scientifically. Like, you're basically getting the Institute from Fallout 4 in this instance. Maybe they go underground. But they're going to be focusing on science, and they're going to be focusing on cleaning up the mess. And then this lesson, the lesson that they need to learn is learned to not repeat the mistakes of the past. And then, after like 1,000 years, you have this beautiful utopian, scientifically driven society. Probably no money.
I disagree with the way it would turn out. It just wouldn't go like that.
It would go like that. It wouldn't go any other way. It wouldn't.
No, I hate to say it. I think Fallout has some accuracies where you would get like people coming together, like forming Diamond City. You would get people forming.
Well, you got to remember, I said 1,000 years. That's only 200. That's only 200, Billy.
Christ, 1,000 years, bro.
Hey,
200 years is too short.
I'm investing in the long term, Billy.
long term.
No,
I'm investing in the long term, Billy. Because what's going to happen right now if this progresses another 1,000 years? That scares me more than that, Elkin.
I don't like that the answer to the issue is kill billions of people.
Yeah, I don't like that either. To me,
that's
that's
why
part
I'm
of the negative.
That's why I'm like, okay, yes, people would.
And
Whatever positive you
that's-
have
people would
has to
be
outweigh
working
See,
that.
I don't value
Yeah.
human lives like that. I never have. Never will. Like, to me,
All right, well then we're on fundamentals.
yeah, we're on fundamental
I don't
differences
think
there.
I'm never gonna.
Like, I don't, like, to me, it's a, like, I don't value human life like that. I just never have. Like, we kill more trees, more animals to fuel this. And that, to me, is worse than that. Like, what we have
can
now
see what
is the
you're
worst
saying.
alternative. Like, I'm literally living my worst life. This is not what I want. Everything about it is, to me, backwards wrong. And the only way to fix it is to blow it all up. Not that I would, I'm waiting for them to do it. Because they're going to. There's no way. This can't continue.
It almost happened.
It
literally almost happened. I remember
many times.
Remember talking about Stanislav Petrov. It literally almost happened.
I love that video.
Yeah,
That's such a good video.
like, yeah, we're,
On YouTube.
it's just going
Really
to
quickly,
happen.
I don't think people understand. They might.
Oh, you guys
There's a
mentioned
couple
it in
We
the
things
previous
talked about it
episode.
before, but basically the world almost ended in the 80s because of the Cold War. There was almost nukes.
Has a really
Yeah.
sweet video.
There was a false alarm. There was almost nukes sent all over America, which that would have meant basically the end of the world. So, like,
Yeah.
I know it's a little cliche. Oh shit! Thank you. Mountain Dew. Yeah, it basically, like, and I know, okay, coming from an American, you might not take me seriously, but like, if America goes, we're all dead. Like, I'm not gonna.
In
Am
all
I wrong about
likelihood.
that?
In all likelihood.
I mean, we're
There's
kind
always
of.
a chance. Everyone kind of always has a chance, but yeah. in all
Correct me
likelihood.
if I'm wrong. We're kind of at the center of everything. Like, we have so many ties with like other nations. Like, if we just if
America would be so devastated if it's nuclear. Was what you're asking?
Well, no, I'm saying that.
Oh, in any shape or
if
shape.
America, the entire country were somehow to just go away, like it didn't exist anymore, everywhere else on the planet would be fucked just because we're gone. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't necessarily agree with that statement. Necessarily. I think a lot of first world countries...
Maybe not completely fucked, but like
I think-
everywhere else would be like way worse off.
No, I actually have to disagree with that. I think first world countries, sure. I think if you're a first world country, you're fucked. If you're Canada, if you're Europe, you're fucked. China, on the other hand, prosper. They would prosper. third world countries might recover from the shit we did. South America would definitely recover. Like, you gotta remember, what we do in the world is not necessarily good. We don't do good in the world. What we do is we oppress, see, what we do is called globalism. It's modern day imperialism. That's all it is. And we don't do it in the way the British people did. Imperialism means I'm going there, I'm putting my flag down, and I'm occupying your land. I'm annexing you in a way.
Yeah.
Globalism is I'm going to go in, I'm going to liberate you, and I'm going to install a patsy government, and you guys are going to benefit my economy, and I'm going to put my central bank there.
Well, because we also benefit them. No?
We hardly ever. Hardly ever. I mean, look what we did to Guatemala. We put a banana company in charge of Guatemala. We don't treat other countries well when we're there. We do it so we can get cheap products, cheap resources. We do it so we can get cheap coffee, bananas.
Why would they do it if there's no incentive for them?
They don't have a choice. We liberated you.
I guess this is me being young. What does that mean?
That means we rolled
the actual definition.
Well, the actual definition of liberate means to free. So what we do is we find countries that have that where the people are upset with their government, and then we intervene.
Yes.
And we put in our own patsy government, which 9 times out of 10 is usually worse.
Yeah, a lot of times is actually worse for the people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
now there's a couple cases where it eventually got better. So South Korea sucked for a long time. A lot of people don't know this. Right after the Korean War, it was actually considered the lucky ones were considered to be the North Koreans. Life was actually like harsher for the people economically, like just day-to-day living in South Korea at the beginning. But obviously
that was before the Korean War, right?
No, this is right after the Korean War.
Right after. Okay.
Right after. So the first, I forget how long, but I was watching a Cold War documentary on this. Yeah. At the very beginning, it's like tough living for South Korea and North Korea, but it's actually worse, a little worse for South Korea. But then as time goes on, South Korea quickly, and now South Korea is all the way up here. South Korea is like a fully, they're like Japan in a lot of ways.
Pretty much, yeah.
But if you look at a lot of the other countries that we intervene in, most of them don't turn out like that.
Exactly. So I'm just naming like that's one example. That's an interesting example because at first we intervene, and at first it's like really bad, and that's one where it's like, oh look,
but we also didn't put our own patsy government in there.
Exactly. That's why it was so bad.
Well, no, that's why it succeeded to today, is because we never put in our own patsy government. When we put in our own patsy government, our own puppet politicians, it never goes well.
It's weird. In a way, I think you're right. Like with Iran, we overthrew their government and installed the Shah, and it what a boneheaded fucking stupid choice. It's like stupid. Anti-democratic, against our own values.
We intervened in Egypt, and then what we did there was, like, within the next few years, was overthrown, and then they put back pretty much the same government that was there before.
Isn't that also basically what happened? Like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not too knowledgeable on this topic. Isn't that basically what happened in like Afghanistan as well with the Taliban? Like, as soon as we pulled out of there, like the moment we pulled out of there, the Taliban ran everything again. Like,
realistically, they were already kind of. It's like Vietnam. Like, people try to say South and North Vietnam, but really, there was no South and North Vietnam in that regard.
We created the idea, that was fueled by us, having a South and North Vietnam.
Yeah, like, realistically, the North was everywhere, and the South was everywhere. It's just like you had people on our side and not, and we just kind of, we were able to survive a little bit better in the South, is really what it was. We were able to occupy more land, station our troops down there.
And we got like we installed a government that was, of course, was supposed to be a certain way. And it's weird. Like, that intervention ultimately failed dramatically for the United States. And I guess it's similar in a way to Afghanistan in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It is.
Where as soon as we leave, it's like... Now, at least with Afghanistan, it happened way quicker in a way. So with Vietnam, we left, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it like a year or two before North Vietnam fully took over South Vietnam?
I have no fucking clue.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick. But, like... So
But Afghanistan, it was 2 weeks.
It was
literally 2 weeks.
It was like, as far as the world goes, that's fucking instant.
So to backpedal just a second, so like my general opinion is if the United States collapsed, there would be bad for a lot of first world countries, but a lot of other countries would actually regain their footing. May not be good, quote unquote, but like good for them. Like good, maybe not good for their neighbors, maybe not good for their own people, but like things would become more. A lot of the countries that we've destructured over the years would become structured.
Well, I guess, how about this too? Maybe, well, I guess because I'm kind of just using like this analogy as well. Maybe if we look more like scientifically, like if all of the United States was bombed, right, with nuclear weapons, what would that do to the environment? You can't just drop a bunch of nuclear bombs.
Oh,
and
there'd be
happen,
a
like the
nuclear
fucking
winter across
like,
the world.
That's
just because of how Fallout works.
Depends how, if that's how it goes down, then that's how it goes down. However, that's not even necessarily the case. Depends on the size of the bombs.
It depends on the type of bombs too.
Depends.
Size, type, how they're deployed.
It would have been
are they air bursts or are they ground bursts?
With Stanislav Petrov, it would have been nuclear missiles, like all over. And plus, seeing that, if America sees nuclear missiles coming to us, we're gonna go. At that time, we're gonna go and send them to Russia as well. So Russia and the United States are gone.
Unless you do what Vault-Tec did and bomb ourselves.
Why would you do that?
Well, alright, so this is great. So in the Fallout show, this has been a fan theory and kind of teased in every Fallout game since the inception of Fallout.
True, yeah.
So, Vault-Tec was a company. They had investors, and their whole thing was they were playing off of the fear of nuclear war. Because at the time there was
profiting off of it.
Yeah, they were profiting off of it. So they were like, "Oh, join our vaults. Yeah, come join our vaults."
They want to. They're selling a place in vaults.
So, but what they're inherently doing is investing in destruction.
Exactly.
So what ended up happening was a lot of investors wanted to pull out. People from like Robco, General Atomics. And at this meeting, and they did it in the Fallout show, they're like, okay, so we have propositions to make you not pull out.
Let's actually end the world.
Hold on.
No, that's what she said.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There was a part before that.
Okay.
She said, well, what you can do is in each of our vaults, we have secured environments for you to experiment on people. And every vault, like they were shooting ideas, like what if we put 100 men and one woman in a vault? What if we put 100 women and one man in a vault? What if we
did this?
What if
that?
What if we played with
all
white
noise?
What if we did white noise experiments? What if every vault for every 10 vaults you had only one that was actually safe?
A control vault.
A control vault is what they called it. And he said, well, and they were like, well, what's the point of that? What if we she's like, well, we'll cause the nuclear war ourselves.
Yeah.
So
the idea is the ultimate long-term profitability plan. Ultimately, like, what they want is power. They realize, like, wait a minute, we're playing this game for money, but it's like, we can just, if we play our cards right, we destroy the world, out of the ashes, we come up all the way at the top.
Yeah. And that, if we're not careful, your guys' pacifism, your guys, like, and it's not just you guys, the majority of this country, the majority of the world, like the patience, hoping that things turn out. This is the shit they're doing behind the scenes.
I disagree. It's not to this level.
No.
But
bro,
this is comically stupid.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Dude, they have proven time and time again. They have proven time and time again that these people. Like, I'll say this: any evil you've seen in TV shows and movies is 1% of what they think of and are capable of. The type of shit. I'm not saying they'll destroy the world.
Opposite.
Possible.
No, our forms of media, the stories we come up with, oftentimes are dramatized. They're elevated. They're pushed to 11.
No.
All right.
No. That's what you think. That's what they portray. 1% of how evil these people are. 1%.
Adam, yours.
I would guarantee, dude. They literally were like, "How about in the 1970s? How about we get a bunch of single mothers, All right, we tell them we're going to treat postpartum depression, but in reality, we're going to feed them copious amounts of psychedelics, make them watch war videos, and try to create their own sleeper cells. That is some Vault Tech shit, dude, and that is called MK Ultra.
That is some Vault Tech shit. But
the optimism. Or how about we shoot depleted uranium around St. Louis? Just see what happens. Like that is these people. I don't know where this optimism comes from. It's like you believe, well, like, I'm pacifist, and I see the logic in my pacifism. Why would they be any different?
No. I see how because a lot of people are selfish, alright?
Selfish, maniacal, evil, malice. The list goes on, Billy. And the people at the top got filtered there.
These are good points. Especially the filtering point. Freaking, I guess, I remember, there's the balance between competition and cooperation. Too much, if you're too competitive, it's actually bad for you.
Oh, they are cooperating with each other.
True. But I just think if they were that ruthless, they're not quite incentivized to be as ruthless as they were in the Fallout TV show.
The Fallout TV show was also like 70, like what 50 years in the future from where we are today.
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess we have time.
We got time, and also the Freemason ideology, which a lot of these guys are a part of fraternities like that, is you can accomplish anything with time and patience.
I kind of, it bothers me in the Fallout TV show, like, just really quickly. It's set, like, they made it so far in the future, but it's like, really, electronics wouldn't get to, even our level nowadays of electronics is, like, far superior to the Fallout universe.
Well, it's not that far in the
future. I don't
future.
think that's the case. They have... Hold on.
It's the end of... It's basically
their technology
the end of the
is
Fallout
way
timeline.
better than ours.
In some ways, but not when it comes to electronics.
No, electronics. Oh my god. No, they crush it. First of all, in their universe, Tesla took off. So all electricity is wireless. There's no power poles.
That's one aspect.
Okay.
What about microchips?
Okay. Well, what about robots? They crush us when it comes to robots, Billy. How dare you?
When it comes to... By the way, a lot of the Mr.
Atomic
Handies.
cars.
I hate Mr. Handies.
Atomic. We don't have Mr. Handies, Billy.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Mr. Handies are so stupid.
Cold fusion.
But anyway, they're stupidly designed.
They have cold fusion.
But that was like that was like the pinnacle of their might right before the war.
Okay. Mr. Handies, Sentry Bots, Robo-Brains.
By the way,
atomic vehicles.
We have right now a lot of countries, and Ukraine is actually Ukraine might be the first country to deploy AI controlled warfare machinery in actual warfare. So like They
also had Billy Liberty Prime, dude.
Yeah. In some ways, that's what I'm saying. But like, what did they not have? Think of this: they didn't have laptops. They had these big ass stupid terminal things. And they had these bulky ass Pip Boys.
They had that satellite that took out Liberty Prime.
Yeah, but again, so like these are different. They're adjacent to. Like, that's what I'm saying. If they have all these technologies, why can't they make like miniaturized electronics?
The Pip Boy.
Dude, my cell phone can do more than that fucking Pip Boy.
The technology went differently in their universe.
Exactly.
But in some ways, they're superior.
Of course, in some ways, they have like plasma rifles, and I know that. They have, and you mentioned the Sentry Bots, you mentioned Liberty, you mentioned all these things in which
wireless electricity.
Yeah. But they have all that, and they can't like look at our equipment, our podcast equipment. They can't do stuff like this laptop. It's like, come on, man.
I think they are. I think Adam is right in the fact of just like they just evolve differently. They just have different needs. Like, because a lot of things you listed, like, you know, the plasma rifles, the robots and shit, that's more just focused on like weaponry because they need it.
Power armor.
What do they like? What would people in the Fallout?
I know.
Yeah. What would people in the Fallout universe need a cell phone for, realistically?
Same reason why we would. The demand is there, even if people
They
don't
have cell
realize
phones in
it.
the Fallout. If you remember in the TV show, they did have a cell phone that was being used.
Or maybe not so smartphones specifically.
That was
what are they?
that was the pinnacle of 2077.
They
Ultra
have-
wealthy.
They evolved differently. Their technology went a different route.
I'm just
when
saying.
does
They
Like,
also never developed rock and roll and had 1950s music into the 2070s.
that
Yeah,
makes
'cause
no
that's-
sense.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, well,
Why wouldn't music like?
I'm not too knowledgeable about Fallout, but isn't it like isn't Fallout basically the nuclear bombs dropped in like the 1930s and they're kind
No,
of just,
No.
that's the style.
1950s.
Stylistically, it's 1950s, but it's the year 2077. It's as if the 1950s never ended.
well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe, but you get my point. Just like they never culturally, they never got past it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they don't need cell phones. So they were cool with writing letters, dude.
I guess yeah, you don't know what you're missing.
But like
Yeah.
a lot of the technologies in the Fallout universe would be enhanced with miniaturized electronics. I know that's a big theme in the Fallout universe. One of the divergences in the timelines is instead of
The big one is instead of Edison taking off, Tesla took off.
yeah, that's a big one.
That's
a
like
huge
the
one.
that's like the
And
big
then
one.
another thing, I guess the transistor got invented really late, or it never got miniaturized, something like that. I forget, but like basically, like the old style computers when computers first came up, they never. It took not until like the very end, like towards close towards 2077, did some of that start to kind of get miniaturized. Basically, like the first version of the Pip-Boy was like super bulky, right? The Pip-Boy 1000. And the Pip-Boy 2000 is a lot slimmer. Pip-Boy 3000 is really slim, relatively speaking. But relative to our technology, these are still like, it's big. It's like, it's a
Well,
whole
to be
bulky
fair,
thing.
most of the Pip-Boy is just a phone with like a cover.
It's a phone on a strap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it really comes down to. Like,
Well, but still, the functions inside the phone is less advanced. Like the function.
Well, they never-
Actually,
They
it's
never-
funny. It's advanced in different ways. So the Pip-Boy can do stuff that
modern computers can't do.
exactly, but
Different-
it's, for
different
the
needs.
most part, I would actually say a cell phone is more advanced than a Pip-Boy.
It depends. If the bombs fall, our cell phones are pretty useless. Like, if we're gonna be real about it.
In terms of like making calls, sure.
Okay.
But, like,
When do you ever charge your Pip-Boy?
Okay, well that's not. That's just one of those things. You never see them charging because
Because you
that's
don't.
boring.
Well, that's the thing. They kind of create like
They
they're-
must have to charge it or do something.
Well, everything's run by Fusion.
a lot
And
of things are run by Fusion. So like
Fusion-powered
the idea is
cars.
There'd be a Fusion. So that's in one way. If they have that level of technology where they miniaturize in the Fallout universe, they miniaturize fusion and fission, right? They have micro fusion cells, and they have fission batteries, right? So it's a battery, but it's called a fission battery. It's like
No, it's called a fusion cell.
fusion
Cell
cells
and fusion cores.
and
They-
fusion cores. Those exist, but also a fission battery is a thing in the Fallout universe.
Oh yeah, they do have fission batteries.
Yeah.
They have fission batteries, fusion cores, and fusion cells, and microfusion cells.
Exactly. And energy cells and whatnot.
So they did miniaturize
So what-
some things, Billy. They just ran with everything you need to make atomic energy portable and in your hands.
Exactly. Yeah, they made so. If they can miniaturize that, it just boggles me,
I have a-
especially because it's not in our time.
I have a question.
2077. Are you saying between 1950 and 2077? That whole time, it's so long, over 100 years. They didn't start to miniaturize electronics.
I think you're
until the
focused-
very end.
I think you're focused on the wrong things. Like, I'm more focused on why are there fusion powered cars but gas stations?
Not all cars were fusion powered, but yeah.
I didn't see one that was run by gas.
The idea is like
Every car you shoot blows up. Like, Like with an atomic explosion.
Yeah. All the ones that are some aren't explodable,
But because they're already exploded.
so to speak. Yeah. So that's weird.
Why are there gas stations? Are they pumping cool?
Fallout?
Yeah, why are they?
Are there functioning gas stations?
No,
But they're it's 200 years in the future, so they're all dilapidated. And,
Yeah, well, so then there's no gas station.
plus the infrastructure.
but there was gas stations before the bombs fell.
exactly
Correct.
going into 20.
Even though there were fusion powered cars that didn't need
Wait, before
Gas.
there was in that universe, there's
gas stations and fusion powered cars
before the bombs dropped.
before the bombs dropped.
Maybe the gas stations were dual gas stations. They would also
Maybe they
like,
pumped coolant.
Well,
or maybe that. Maybe
Yeah, maybe it was coolant to like.
we have gas stations that pump gas, but we also have electronic car chargers.
Well, yeah, but
and then we have gas stations that do both.
Exactly.
but they also don't have gas cars. It's kind of the thing.
No, the idea,
must,
like
right?
lore wise, I get what you're saying in game, but from what I've heard, lore wise, it's not like gas cars fully went out. It's that over time, approaching the end of the world, fusion powered cars got more and more popular and viable.
It'd be like if you let electric cars like in 100 years, because like it's safe to say in 100 years there's going to be more electric cars, right? Like
Oh yeah,
I'm guessing that over time it would be more or not economic,
I actually
environmentally like good, but there would still be gas cars.
I actually disagree. I don't think I think the electric car right now is more of a fad.
It is a fact that petrol and gas cars are bad for the environment, like hands down, no matter which way you slice.
Well,
it.
yeah, but so are electric cars, and
Why not?
they're actually worse.
But what about? I'm
No.
saying I'm
What do you
now.
mean, how are they worse?
Okay,
Well, 'cause
so
the factories
cobalt
are
and
worse.
lithium mines. The fact that in order to charge your car requires electricity, which comes from a coal power plant, so you're still putting out the same fucking fumes, actually more.
Yeah, the idea is we would if we green energy the electric grid, that would solve that
But
problem.
we really can't green energy the electric grid.
We could.
I don't see it as possible because
I-
our needs are ever growing.
Are ever growing, but our solar panels, wind
See,
technology are getting
me-
cheaper and more
To
efficient.
me, this is an issue of it kind of has to get worse before it gets better. I feel like in the next 100 years there will be definitely a more environmentally efficient way
I
to
th-
make electric cars,
I
and that
think-
would be better in the long run.
I think greenhouse gases are over exaggerated to a large degree as an issue.
really?
I don't necessarily believe in global warming, and there's not a lot of evidence to support it. See, ocean levels are not rising. Go down to the beach every year, stick a stake in it. Every single year, you will see that ocean doesn't change. Even if it
Where
changes,
are you getting that from?
at a certain point, you have to use your eyes. Climate change, different issue. I'm not talking about climate change.
Oh, okay, all right.
Climate change is us destroying the environment.
That's not. Wait,
They're not the same thing.
How are they not the
They're
same thing?
not, climate
Well,
change.
climate change encompasses a bunch of things.
So, like, I'll give you an example of just climate change that has nothing to do with global warming. So, California. When we went out there, you ever heard of the Paul Bunyan era? You ever heard of Paul Bunyan?
No. Well, I've heard of Paul Bunyan. but-
Okay, so Paul Bunyan is a theatrical thing. He's a theatrical icon, a figure. He doesn't actually exist. It's more of he's like the stereotypical lumberjack.
Mm.
Back in the day, California, all the way from Canada down to like Sacramento, was covered in redwood trees and sequoia
Yeah.
trees. Those sequoia trees evolved, and like it was so dense out there. Like it was actually a rainforest back then because the trees were so big. The trees would capture fog. So as fog moves inland, right now it just moves back out. But back then, because of how many redwood trees there are and how big they were, it would prevent the fog from rolling back out. So fog would roll in, only some of it would roll back out. But it would just keep collecting, and at a certain point, it just kind of capped out, and the whole area was really foggy. Redwood trees actually get most of their water through drinking fog. They evolved that way, and they're massive.
Yeah.
And they're
Fucking huge.
they used to be everywhere. Now only like 2% of the 1 or 2% of the redwood trees are all that's left. We cut down everything.
Yeah,
We just-
deforested it in the west.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because the redwood is great for building houses, boats. It's even better for boats. It has like a level of buoyancy and waterproofness to it. The wood lasts a long time. It doesn't degrade, and you got a lot of wood for one tree. So it's economically beneficial to cut it down. But they evolved out there for the fires. Like, so they're pine cones. In order for them to actually germinate, they need to hit about 700 degrees Fahrenheit for them to even germinate. When a redwood tree catches on fire, it doesn't actually catch on fire in the same way that a normal tree does. It'll scorch the outer bark.
But it doesn't.
It actually fuels its growth.
Yeah.
It will actually go through a growth spurt after. You'll see the veins of new, like you'll see the char, but then you'll see veins of new redwood growth growing out because it's expanding. It likes the fire, and they used to be everywhere. And that was all that was there.
Not even that long ago.
Yeah, this was
like relatively speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing this like Willits, the town I lived in, was founded in like the 1890s. Like, so this is all in the last a little over a century and a half that we've been cutting shit down over there, and it's all gone now. And so what we have now are trees that are not necessarily native there, and if they are, they're not meant to be in that dense of a population. Fires are part of the ecosystem. They happen. Like, it's weird out there. You know, we have thunderstorms out here. Out there, you have lightning storms where there's not even thunder, which is really weird. No rain.
Isn't that like impossible?
No.
Yeah.
How can there be
how can
lightning
it be
and no
lightning
thunder?
and not create like a loud sound?
Well, they create a loud sound, but most thunder is actually atmospheric pressures changing. It's not the sound of lightning. That's a misconception. It's actually
It is.
not all thunder
You
is.
count it. It's consistent.
Not all the time though. You'll notice you'll hear thunder, but then there's no lightning strike.
Well, that's
Well,
because
or there's no lightning strike rather, and then you don't hear thunder.
Well,
Like
lightning doesn't always strike the ground.
out there, it's weird, dude. I don't know how to describe it. All I can say is go out there and spend some time in May, June out there because the lightning storms get freaky.
Damn.
Like the clouds look different than they do out here. Lightning will strike and cause fires every fucking year. They just does. Like, I saw 4 of them out there that caused major fires. And redwood trees, all it would be, because the way a redwood forest works at the ground level, all you have are ferns and pine needles. That just creates a quick ground fire that moves fast and then quickly dissipates after a few miles. Out there, now you have these raging fucking fires that devastate entire ecosystems. And that's all because we cut down those forests. Then we started monocropping there. And now we don't have a lot of water because the redwood trees kept moisture in. It was a rainforest. Now it's defined as a temperate desert because we altered the environment. So, and we're in California, from what I've seen, in the next 10, 20 years is going to be another great dust bowl, which is going to devastate our economy because they produce 70% of our country's produce. That is an example of climate change that has nothing to do with greenhouse gases.
Right. Well, but here's the thing, though. I've
And
heard
that's
so many scientists talk about this. The climate, on average, is getting global temperatures are rising.
From what perspective? Because they're actually cooler than it was 20,000 years ago.
No,
if you take the
okay, sorry.
If you take the average, I'm guessing if you take the average of like everywhere on the world.
So that's a good point Adam just brought up. If you compare it to what? If you look at the rate at which the temperatures are changing, it's the fastest rate of change besides big instances like the Chicxulub asteroid. It's the fastest rate of climate change we've had since like these immense natural disasters.
I would argue that, see, the
Hundreds of
word
years
climate
ago.
change, right there. I would argue the majority of our climate change is through climate change, not greenhouse gases, not global warming. Global warming, it's not any warmer than it was 50 years ago. Summers have always been hot. Summers aren't getting progressively hotter either.
I think climate change is also just kind of a misleading title.
There's climate change and then there's global warming.
Or global warming, I mean. Like, it's
Global
not even-
temperatures, you can Google it. They are getting
There's
I think
there's also a
it's
lot of
just-
scientists who argue against global warming. A lot of them.
Well, I think it's
No.
not even. It's
There
not
are
even
some.
There
But
are a lot.
that argue against Bill. So like I've heard debates. I've listened to.
Look, I
a
love
lot
Bill
of
Nye,
it-
but I get I get this vibe that he's paid out at a certain point. Global warming is a way they use that to tax us, and they've been using this thing since the fucking 60s. They're like, oh, by 1970, it's like you're not gonna be able to breathe. Like by 1980, you're gonna they use this every generation. They use this trope to increase taxes. Yet they don't actually change anything. Celebrities and rich people still use private planes to fly everywhere, using far more greenhouse gases than you or I do. Like, if they care about climate change so much, why is Taylor Swift flying everywhere, putting out more fuel in a day than most of us put out in a year? Like, at a certain point, they just kind of use it to fuel an agenda. No, it doesn't seem real. I believe in climate. I
agree with that, but you can't use that to say it's not real.
So there's no effect, though. They say the ocean levels are rising, yet I've been to the beach, and I've been to the beach over and over again, and I don't see the ocean getting progressively closer inland, even by inches.
It's at such a slow rate. You're not going to notice it.
You can't. There's pictures. There's pictures of islands. There's pictures of islands from the 1920s. All right, like, and they take the same exact photograph like this year. The ocean is the same. Like,
remember,
nothing
the
changed.
ocean level fluctuates.
And that's only the 1920s.
So you gotta remember that we have to measure averages.
Exactly.
Okay? It's one person cannot perceive this really. It's all about averages. Because remember, tide, like, it all fluctuates. Yeah. So you can't, it's hard to get it's really hard to get a consistent average ocean level in a particular area. But the scientific community have done it. And it does rise, has been rising ever so slightly.
So let me explain.
Ever so slightly.
Let me point this thing out to you. There's also a science thing I feel like you're missing, because I do believe we're being lied to on a lot of angles about this. Again, this comes from my distrust of the government and a lot of the scientific community that gets sponsored by them. It's my problem with science. I love science, but a lot of scientists only publish views that get the right amount of money. If it fuels an agenda, they get funding.
What agenda is climate change fueling?
Oh, taxes. They increase money and to fuel their own thing, dude.
No, dude. Climate change agenda is one of the things I wholeheartedly disagree with.
Specify global warming, though. Specify global warming. Climate change is different. I do believe in climate change. I don't believe in global warming.
So I'm looking at a graph right now. Average global is by NASA. All right, and NASA's not the only organization saying this.
You know, NASA in Hebrew means to spread lies, right? This is.
I don't care what. Hebrew? Why the fuck would I care about Hebrew?
Well, I'm just saying, man. They do things like that. They put things in your face.
Like the word NASA?
Yeah.
That's such a dumb thing. Oh, we're going to call our organization Lies Spreading. I don't know.
That's so
hey, they put things in front of your face, man. That's all I'm saying. Like,
we'll do it as a hint.
Hey, you bring up a government.
What the fuck?
You bring up
I'm fine with conspiracies,
I guess what I'm saying
like,
is,
holy shit.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you bring up a government agency to justify your trope, all it does to me is discredit it.
What do you want? Like a private corporation?
I want a private scientific study. Those are the things I tend to look at.
All right, so like maybe a study from a university?
No, those get funding.
Okay, wait a minute. Adam, I'm so sorry. To do science, you need funding.
Funding creates bias, creates bureaucracy.
So
that's my problem with the science.
But how can you do these experiments without money?
You can.
But no, you can't.
Yes, you can.
How would you?
You need to pay people.
How would you right now go out and try to test global warming? You can't.
I can. I would need time. You're asking me on the spot. And this is something complex, but I can.
Well, okay, but you get my point. Atmosphere thermometer.
You need to do it efficiently. You need at least some.
And you would have to have it. You would have to record data on that.
Let's backpedal here a second. All right, let's backpedal here. We're getting off topic.
Because you could. It's not like you can't. But like you would need to. It's not just equipment. It's also time.
Look, there are private scientific groups that do it with very minimal funding. That does exist. You're attacking something that's like, oh, if you don't have big funding, you're not. No, you can do it without, and people do. They do. Like you're arguing.
I'd like to retract my statement from earlier. That was a dumb thing to say.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I feel like we can keep talking while you're doing that, though.
Probably.
Well, actually, we could have done then, except before, I would have to do it so much, it would create such huge spikes, it drowns out when you can't even hear what Dan's saying. But anyway,
going back.
Going back.
A lot of I do believe in climate change because that is just human effect on the environment. But global warming seems to have very little evidence in my mind supporting it from what
do you
I've
mean
seen.
evidence?
Global temperatures are not any hotter than it was when I was a kid. My parents would say the same thing. My grandparents would say the same
I
thing.
think, okay, well, here's the thing, too, that I've heard. Global warming is a misleading label to put on it. It's not even that the overall temperature is getting hotter. It's more of the fluctuation
Well,
is
there's
worse.
that, exactly.
Think about
storms,
there's more dramatic
yeah.
lows, dramatic highs. There's, like you said,
There
like,
isn't, though. That's the thing. Dramatic
there
lows.
has to
No, yeah, Texas.
There has
Yeah,
to be.
Texas in that horrible winter
Texas
storm.
had a bad winter in the 1800s. It happens, man. Like,
Yeah, it happens,
Yeah,
but,
but it's
gonna
happening
happen
at a
frequently.
part. You have to think about
The
this
rate.
when you're talking about temperature of the world. You have to think of it in such a large scale, like thousands of years. Okay,
Okay, but
and because it's an exponential growth when you're talking about global.
the biggest thing they mentioned is that glaciers melt, right? Like, they showed this mountain years ago. They're like, oh, this mountain's never going to see snow again. And it snows there every year. Like, they do lie a lot about it. I'm not saying the greenhouse gases don't have an effect and there isn't something there, but I believe it's very exaggerated. And I believe it's meant to they use that to cover up actual climate change. The actual detriments that we've had on the environment.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, but I've heard people say in California that the cause for fires is global warming when that is not at all the case. They use because they don't want to. Nobody wants to blame us when it comes to the actual things. If it makes money, we don't want to use. We don't.
What's up with the fires then?
The fires have always been there. Always. California always catches on fire. The redwood trees literally evolved over millions of years to catch on fire. And
You're saying they've been worse because those red trees are cut down now.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, so we use things like global warming to blame as opposed to the actual things we've done. A lot of things get swept under global warming when in reality it's more of the detriment that we've done on the environment.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the rainforest, right? In Brazil. Like, I guarantee you at some point there's going to be an effect from that.
Of course, dude. They're
But it's
chopping
gonna-
it down at such a huge rate.
But the effect that it's going to cause is somehow going to get blamed on global warming as opposed to us destroying the ecosystem.
No, I think I disagree because people have adopted climate change because they realize, okay, it's more than just average global temperatures rising. By the way, average
It's
global
not even
temperatures, no, they are rising. Look at this graph, Dan. Come here. This is global. Across the world, on average, it is getting warmer. So, there's a normal amount of fluctuation that is somewhat normal. So there's highs and lows, but if you see the trend, it's gotten hotter. The
and this
world,
is over like
planet
200 years.
has
too.
gotten
It's over
hotter.
like 150 somewhere.
Yeah. The planet has gotten hotter over time. And especially now. Funny enough, you mentioned
That's
like,
that's because of the ozone layer, right?
it's because of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, it's about something about like the greenhouse gases that are staying in here now and making the planet overall hotter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's that is what they define global warming as. It's the greenhouse gases that allow sunlight to come in, but then don't allow as much of it to reflect off of our surface.
Correct.
So it
Exactly.
gets trapped here.
Yes.
Melting glaciers and things like that. However, glaciers melt and then refreeze. We go through this cycle. And we are over. Has it occurred to anybody that maybe we're also overdue for major climate changes? Like, we should be in the last ice age we had to where we are now correlates with the previous track record. Our planet does go through a lot of fluctuations.
You're absolutely right. However, if you look at it, so if you look at the rate of change of global temperatures throughout the ages, like ice age to ice age, we have our Earth goes through periods of ice ages. It's natural. It doesn't, the slope, the rate of change isn't actually as bad going in and out of ice ages as it is today.
now.
So that's the problem. Global temperatures, it's not like the change is bad. It's how fast it's changing. It's changing
It's
so
unnatural.
fast. It's not natural. It's not natural for the Earth to change its temperature this fast. It's happening too fast.
So I think that's a lot of speculation for something that's none of us were there 250,000 years ago.
True,
And it's very hard to prove temperatures.
We have records.
How do we have records if we weren't there? Records means I recorded it, it was there, and then someone else...
From science, I See, look, I'm not an expert on this shit, but I know that scientists do have ways of tracking our temperature, like from like the rocks and shit, under the ground.
So one of
they
the
have ways.
So there's things that we do that are like when we want to detect polar shifts, for example, we look at times near volcanic sites where the rock was molten and when it's solidified. Like say there's a volcano that's been active for a few million years and it goes off every 100,000 years, like a super volcanic eruption. We can dig through those layers and find times in history where the rock solidified and the iron particles were pointed different ways. So there are times where the positive throughout the global history, there are times where the North Pole was elsewhere on the planet. Like that kind of happens. Polar shifts happen. We go through periods in time where compasses would point differently.
That is true, especially when you take into account like Pangea. Like there would be like
climate changes throughout Earth's history.
Yeah,
Antarctica used to be a rainforest.
Where they say one theory is where Hawaii is now. Like, the physical Hawaii island would be up at the top where the North Pole was at one point in time.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. Freaking, but here's the thing.
But detecting weather, detecting weather though, patterns, temperatures, is a harder thing to do. We can detect, carbon in the soil. We can detect, oxygen levels in leaves we found. Like, we can detect certain levels of certain things, but doing temperature is a harder thing to do. And I will attack the accuracy of that. Like, there's certain things that are undeniable, but that one has a lot of play in it. Like, it's also hard to detect. One thing that gets harder with history, too, the further you go back, the harder it is to detect the differences in those time, between one point and another. Like if you look at history, like if you look at prehistoric things, if you look at the human era, we can detect a lot more. But the further you go back, the wider the range becomes because it's harder to tell the points between A and B. Like there are instances where we're like,
true.
Like in Ice Age.
That's why science. That's why we have these experts that do that their life they dedicate to trying to solve this and trying to.
Yeah, and people thought that when JWST went up that we would be seeing undeveloped galaxies at the edge of our observable universe. Yet we're seeing galaxies that are far more developed than what we're looking at now.
Yeah. No,
Science.
There's always room for improvement of our understanding.
But that's an example of us thinking one thing and having the opposite answer.
But like, you know what's weird? There's way more agreement amongst climate scientists so I just Googled it. 97% agree that humans are causing global warming and climate change.
I believe it. Oh, I believe it.
Causing both.
Oh, I believe
it's not just climate change. It's also average global temperatures increasing. Remember, it's average. All right.
See,
some places are actually kind of getting colder.
Period of time.
But then the places are getting warmer or more than the places are getting colder. So on average, the global temperature increases.
So, like, they say that the ice caps are melting, right? Here's a scientific point. All right, look at the ocean. Think of the ocean as a cup. If you drop an ice cube in the cup, the water level's here.
Right.
When the ice cube melts, it doesn't go anywhere. The water level stays exactly the same.
What you're not taking into account is that in this analogy, if the glacier was the ice cube is not in the water yet.
It is in the water though when it comes to the poles. When it comes to especially the North Pole.
Remember,
not so much the South Pole. The South Pole has an island underneath it, but the North Pole actually does not have an island underneath it. And the North Pole is where we're seeing most of the meltage.
Remember, a lot of that, because in a way, Adam, I see what you're saying. There is, because with the ice cube thing, it's weird. Because some of the ice, because ice floats, some of it is above water.
Exactly.
But then as the ice melts, ice actually takes up more volume than liquid water. Ice is less dense. So you might actually see zero change. It might cancel out.
Yeah.
Because not all the ice is underwater. But then when it melts, it's denser. That's why ice floats, because it's less dense. But What I've heard that the rise of the sea level rise, some of it is maybe due to like glaciers melting and whatnot. A lot of it is because, if simply speaking, what happens when you heat something up? This is what I've heard. It evaporates, but also like what if it doesn't evaporate? Like if I heat up this like a piece of metal, it expands slightly, and then not just for metal, wood, any material. Increasing its temperature causes expansion.
That's why doors get stuck in summer.
Yeah, exactly. So water, it's very slight, but if you heat up the water, it expands.
But that is not what they argue. I agree with you on that, but a lot of the people you'll see argue that ocean levels are rising because of glaciers. I'm with you on that. But what I'm saying, what I'm doing is discrediting the people giving us a lot of this information, because it's like they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. A lot of people don't know exactly what it is because they think it's because all the ice is melting. When that's some of it, but it's the vast majority is because the water is actually expanding.
So like coral reefs dying
on average hotter.
I've heard this before too. Like when I was in school, they would argue that coral reefs are dying because ocean temperatures are getting warmer. In reality, that is not the case.
Isn't it just because of like pollution?
It's because of more specific. It's because acid levels in the ocean are rising. You change the pH of the ocean, you will kill coral.
Killing wildlife.
Yeah, you're killing coral reefs, which were set for whatever the pH was when they were evolving. Like so, but that's not global warming. That comes back down to climate change. Like that's that is.
So basically, what you're trying to say is that a lot of the issues that people will label as global warming is more just part of a larger issue.
Yeah,
it has nothing.
I believe I believe when it comes to global warming, while we do have an effect on it, I believe we're just exasperating issues that already exist naturally, but we're exasperating it.
So
that is.
You might be right. Like if it weren't for us, maybe the temperature would be
going up, but just not as fast.
Yeah.
Temperatures fluctuate on the planet all the time.
Going up, but I think that so you just think that do you think global warming is even a thing, or do you think it just doesn't matter?
I believe it, in the grand scheme, it's like, the way this whole thing started was I said it was such a small issue compared to, and I believe it to be an issue, just not to the degree that it is blown up. Climate change, on the other hand, is the major issue, our effect on the environment around us. And that is often fueled by overpopulation and resource consumption.
I think I could agree with that. That broader speaking, climate change, the other aspects of climate change, global warming is part of climate change.
Well, global warming is more just. I think the reason why people talk about it so much is a lot of the issues with global warming. The reason why is.
I think they use it to talk about a lot to up taxes. That's my opinion.
No, I think a lot of it is just because. A lot of the thing about global warming is they're trying to protect like a generation not yet born. And a lot of the issues with global warming would be a lot easier to fix right now than having to fix them thousands of years from now.
Or forget thousands. Fixing
Hundreds,
them 50 years from now will be way more expensive than fixing
I think that's the only reason why people make it. Like, it's not a big deal now, but it will be.
Exactly.
And it's a lot easier you gotta prevent it.
So there's like... Because I believe climate change to be a bigger issue, right? So say we invest in solar panels. We're just going to be upping our pollution content. Not greenhouse gases, but things that end up in the ocean, things that affect pH, because solar panels require petrol to make. You need oil. You need now. Well, we're always going to need plastics. That's kind of the thing.
I've watched videos explaining this. There's always way to improve.
There's always going to be ways to improve. That's the fun of science. But, like, a lot of the things that, like, we're pushing electric cars when that is not necessarily an answer to fix the problems we are faced with currently. Like, if I wanted to help the next generation, I would go after the way we produce materials. I would regulate what kind of materials we're producing them with, how much, are they biodegradable? When they degrade, do they release acids? Do they raise pH of soil and water around them?
This might sound stupid, but what if you started making solar panels, and then like you start making solar panels at like a crazy rate? The first thing you would do with those solar panels is put them back into the solar panel factories, so we aren't using as much petrol. From there,
you're going to need petrol to replace parts, and solar panels break all the time. Like, it's actually a problem we have with them. They do need constant repairs. That's why solar
So that's why solar fields right now, like, that's why we're not using them, is because the amount of repair costs, the maintenance that goes into it is expensive. It's arguably more than what it takes to maintain a city on its own.
Well, okay, well, I'm not saying we need to maintain a city right now. I'm saying, like, you put the solar panels where you need it. Like, first you would put them into the solar panel factory, then you would put that...
Oh, I don't
into
mean you
the
need
materials
petrol to... So, I'm not saying you need solar panels to create electricity to create more solar panels. I'm saying you need petrol... not for the electricity aspect, because that's done with coal anyway. I mean that you need petrol to make the parts, the plastics,
Alright, so
the materials
you're saying the materials in the solar panel?
are made of petrol.
Yeah,
Solar panels are made of petrol.
A lot of things. The
It's
thing about the
plastics.
plastic we use nowadays, it's made from oil. A lot of oil companies, they're very much. That's why they push. Remember, like they push recycling on us a fuck ton when we were kids.
Even though most of it just ends up in the ocean anyway.
Yeah, no. A lot of plastics that get produced are not recyclable. So it's like a fucking scam. Recycling, it turns out, a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it is a scam because it's not recyclable. And a lot of times, it's actually economically, it just doesn't make sense to recycle. It's cheaper to make new plastic than it is to recycle plastic and make plastic.
I think all of my optimism just left the room.
Yeah, so like...
Oh shit! Yeah, you didn't know
shit.
recycling was majorly a scam?
No, okay,
Yeah.
I knew that, but like, it's just like, you can't do anything about it. Especially, mainly the thing with the solar panel, like, needing fossil fuels to make solar panels is just, how has that gone under the radar? I think if more people knew that, it'd be like, why the fuck are we even making these? We're doomed.
No, hold on. Because Adam is wrong about solar panels.
No, I'm not.
Fundamentally, yes.
No, I'm not.
Fundamentally, yes. Solar
What am I wrong
panels-
about? Say what I'm wrong about first before saying I'm wrong. Because
You're saying that it can't, that it's overall it's not worth it when it is.
hold on, no, that's not what I'm saying. You see, what I said was
Sorry, you implied it.
no. You're emotional. What I said
Motherfucker.
what I said was investing in electric cars to fight global warming should not be at one of the forefronts of what we're trying to solve
And
right
I kind
now.
of agree with that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now, solar panels are currently inefficient, which they are. To make enough solar panels
That's fucking ridiculous to me. Oh my god.
because there's a problem with this. First of all, to make the amount of solar panels we would need, it would take a long time, which, cool, we can start that investment. That's not necessarily an issue. Time and patience. We can get there eventually. But you would have to expand our drilling, oil drilling, because you need it currently for cars and to make solar panels. So you're doubling our amount of usage. You're making more plastics. And then once you get us fully converted, you still need to maintain those solar fields. Like, if you create a solar field, every year you're going to replace roughly about 10% of your solar panels with and the plastics needed are non-recyclable.
I'm not sure if modern solar panels, if they need to be replaced that often.
They do.
No, I think
That's what he's
statistics
talking about.
realize, like, and statistically,
That's actually the issue with them. If it was a one-time cost, then we would just be doing it. The problem, the thing that gets argued about it, and that's factual, is the maintenance that goes into it.
Oh, it's all about money. That's every, yeah.
Because if it's a one-time investment and they can just charge you forever on something that takes them no money to keep doing, they would do it. It's free money for them.
Big companies are always going to pick the cheapest option.
And solar panels in that
Solar panels are not cheap.
they're not cheap.
efficient.
and they're not cheap to maintain is the big thing. So if you have a giant solar panel, you'll roughly replace like 1 or 2 of those individual slots every year in different. And it's
So this
and a
is
lot of
where
those
you're
material.
kind of, I think it might be cheaper than oil or natural gas or coal power plants. Funny enough,
You're There's a
So-
change. You're forgetting a couple things though. Like I don't think you're thinking about the economic part of this. So like oil drilling, right? First of all, they're gonna have to oil drill anyway because they need the materials. And if anything, to make plastics requires more oil than it takes to fuel your car in the first place. But then you
a
add
lot
this.
of profits from oil companies are from plastics nowadays.
Yeah.
But
And-
but here's the thing: a lot of them are from still from power plants and cars. Cars and power plants, it's a fuck ton, and they're threatened by
Fuck
that
ton of
now.
what?
Of our global oil production goes towards gasoline making.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm not arguing that. That's cool. Like, but that's irrelevant here. So, like, think about the chain of command. Think about the way things move. The less steps it has to go through, the more profitable it is. It's more profitable for them to sell you gasoline for your car than it is for them to make plastics. So if you will, because it's about, so they drill it from the ground, right? That's one step. You know, all the people at the then it goes to a refinery, and then it gets processed and at the refinery it gets processed into usable petrol, usable fuel for your car. And they're adding dilutants. But most of what's in gasoline isn't petrol. There's a good amount of it in there, but there's also like methanol and other additives. So that gets added. So like they're diluting their product. Like if I'm selling heroin and I put in baby laxative, like I'm diluting my product. I'm making more money off of it.
Well,
Chili
the
powder.
ethanol content they put in there, it's to help reduce. There's another reason for it.
Well, yeah, it's
to
helping.
reduce engine
It's
knocking.
engine ignition.
Yeah.
But so there's that. But there's also like it just happens to be better. Like yeah, maybe the baby laxative I'm adding gets you higher. Like it doesn't matter. But to make petrol, it has to go through the oil refinery anyway. Then they sell a byproduct of. So like when you get oil, your petrol, the part that's in your fuel is not the same part that they are making plastics out of. There is a separation process. So now they're ending up with stuff that they can't really. If no car is using gas, they have a bunch of stuff that would be normally used to make gas. Right now, it's actually efficient. A lot of stuff goes to make whatever they don't use to make gas is a byproduct, and that byproduct gets used to turn into plastics.
That's why plastics are so cheap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's a byproduct. But then they're still paying people to turn that into plastics too, and that still adds a markup. That adds another step. If you eliminated that step, if they were able to turn that into plastics at the processing facility itself, that's one less step.
Remember, like when it comes to a big part of fighting climate change is reducing CO2 emissions,
I don't
into
think.
the
Hold on.
atmosphere.
You mean a big part of fighting global warming?
which is global warming is a big slice of climate change.
So, but you got to be careful when you
Huge
say that because in actuality, plastics are a major role in climate change as a detriment.
Well,
Plastics are bad.
They're bad for wildlife.
That's the whole point
Yeah.
of what we're fighting. I don't like we're
and,
not.
and so they can affect the climate. And so in terms of the environment,
Billy, inside each and every single American is roughly a credit card's worth of plastic in us at any given time
Yeah.
in modern times.
yeah.
Like, we're killing ourselves, we're killing the environment, and we don't really have a way to stop that. Plastics are way worse than fuel burning. Okay, we are damaging ourselves and our environment. Like, we could possibly create air scrubbers in the future. Like, we could possibly create, there's things we can do to fight global warming
Oh, by
specifically.
the way, I
There's not a lot of
just want to let you know, economically, devastating, and I think way more damaging than microplastics. Microplastics are not good.
Microplastic.
But at the end of the day, you can still have relatively healthy wildlife and relatively healthy human
That
beings
is
with
a
microplastics
pure
inside them.
speculation and not necessarily true. If we don't,
Microplastics have been within us for many decades now, and
yeah, and yet
So
we've
far,
seen
so
cancer rates rise. We've seen
there's other reasons for that, but go on.
there's still there are correlations, man. Like there's still things going on there. It's only going to get worse. Microplastics are worse than fuel burning for sure. There's no other way around that. Like
And
we are
CO2 emissions?
CO2 emissions for sure.
No, dude.
No. Any other argument is just blatantly wrong. You're objectively wrong. Because every plastic you create, you're like, microplastics are different. Microplastics turn into microplastics. That's how we get them. It's not like we just made really tiny plastics and spread them. Like, microplastics degrade over time, but they don't degrade. They just...
There's this video I gotta show you. I think that'll illustrate my point best. And shout out to Kyrgyzstan. Yeah,
I love them.
I'm butchering their name. It's actually kind of Kyrgyzstan.
Besides the point.
They made a video on climate change, specifically focusing on global warming, like average global temperatures. We have a goal. I think we have a goal of trying to get under a 2 degrees Celsius increase or 2% increase. I forget a certain increase by 2050. And right at the current rate we're improving, we're going to fall short of that goal. It's probably going to be closer to 3 instead of 2 or 3.5 or something like that, which is bad economically. And they went in all the details on why it's bad. And I love that video because it's like, okay, they break it down. Like, what will happen if you have this amount of increase in temperature? What are the bad things? And for a small increase in temperature, the bad things are fairly minimal. It's like, okay, there's some things. It's not great for the environment. There's some things. But like, once you get to where it's more, the bad things very quickly become really bad. And we get to a point where there could be mass famines because of massive amounts of crop failure due to higher global temperatures. So,
but you're forgetting a couple other factors
and
here.
Droughts, yeah.
You're forgetting a couple other things here. So microplastics end up in the rain.
Yeah.
Like, they're in the skies. All right, that ends up in crops that can also kill crops. We don't know the long-term effects from this, especially at a certain point. Like, this is new territory. We can predict weather. We can't predict what's going to happen with microplastics, especially at the rate. Like, nature can evolve to deal with anything over time, just like plants over time can deal with warmer temperatures. We don't know how plants are going to react long-term to microplastics. Like, all we know currently is if we really wanted to fight it, we'd have to bioengineer funguses and other things like that to break down microplastics, which we're in the process of doing, but that could take a long time. All right, microplastics long term are arguably worse, especially if it means sterilization, which is a study that's going on, like to see if microplastics can sterilize plants, can sterilize animals like mammals over time, increase cancer rates, increase hermaphroditic traits in plants. Acidity levels when
You're right. Those are a lot of negatives,
and most of our oxygen comes from plankton, and microplastics have been shown that they're killing plankton.
Yeah, I understand.
So we could be suffocating ourselves with microplastics.
Yeah, you don't know for sure. We know climate change will be devastating. Global warming will be.
You're just saying the same exact thing. Global warming won't be devastating. It won't be. There's no way.
At the rate we're going, it's not going to be too.
They've been saying that for 30 years. They've been saying that since the 60s, dude.
It is a
no. Whoa. You didn't hear what I just said. I said at the rate we're going, it's not going to be too bad. All right, it's not going to be too bad at the rate we're going. Funny enough, that's one of the things the Kyrgyzstan goes into. All right, a lot of people, because it doesn't make sense to be a doomer when it comes to global warming, because actually it's not going to get so bad that it'll get to that level. Thankfully, private companies are taking enough initiative that if based on pessimistic projections of the future,
I want to know what initiatives they're taking. Please inform me, because I've been all over and I see no difference in our day-to-day lives at all.
There's when you look at you're right, because the grid isn't as green. Electric vehicles don't put as much of a dent as they should. All right. By the way, they definitely do put a dent. So in places where they get their power from either nuclear or solar or wind, electric vehicles in those areas definitely put a dent into it.
I feel like this is just more.
And
I have to go back to the point of just like global warming is not going to affect much immediately. It's such a long term thing.
But
Yeah.
There are no examples of it affecting, like, because you're saying what did you say? Like, how is it affecting us in the last 30 years?
well,
It won't. It's going to affect us in the next.
No,
next few
what
hundred.
I said was, what are companies doing to take initiative? Because they're not doing anything, dude. They're not doing it. Trucks are still moving product which require fuel. Boats
I
are still
was gonna
moving products which
mention-
require fuel.
I was going to mention companies, electric cars.
They're not doing that.
They are in places where the grid is relatively green. Electric cars do make a big difference.
But they're not doing that. Coca-Cola is not moving products with anything. Like
But
they're
people are buying Teslas.
okay, very, very few people, but people are not necessarily the problem.
And because
it's not.
and I will
It's
say,
mostly
it's not just Tesla.
Did you-
Other car companies are also making
most of our
cars.
fuel comes from area. Most of our greenhouse gases come from a few things: coal burning, airlines. That's those are the two major ones. There are other ones, but day-to-day traffic you driving to your job is negligible compared to a lot of especially with what an airplane puts out. Airplanes put out a lot more greenhouse gases, yet we're flying more than ever.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that that is bullshit. Companies aren't doing anything. There is no initiative.
You're saying they're doing nothing.
They're doing
Obviously
nothing.
They're doing stuff.
No, there isn't. They're not doing anything.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, because I see how anything that we're really doing to try to prevent global warming is kind of just making it worse somehow. Especially when you look at Tesla, or when you look at just shit like that, where it's just
I don't know if
counterintuitive.
Tesla's making it worse.
No, they are.
They are.
That's what we were talking about. The good that comes out of having electric cars is outweighed by the fact of the factories that produce them, and the way they burn, or all this type of shit. And it's probably the same with global warming.
I would say that they're more detrimental because, one, they're still using greenhouse gases. Two, you're
What do you mean
mining.
They're still using greenhouse
They're
gases.
still creating greenhouse gases by charging. They still need
That's
fossil.
if the grid is from a greenhouse gas from a dirty grid.
Yeah,
If the grid, certain areas we get our power, I think, from a coal-fired power plant. But if your grid is, if it's nuclear powered or if it's wind powered, which they do exist. All right?
I've been
Solar
through.
power.
So I've been through the Midwest where we have a bunch of solar power. Most of them don't even work. You go through, you see 30 solar. You see 30 wind turbines, and only 2 of them are working because they break down and nobody has the money to repair them.
So here's the thing, right? At this point, I do agree that, okay, yes, global warming is not really getting solved by anything. I know that's very pessimistic, but I think we are kind of fucked. Everything that we're trying to do about it is futile. My issue is that you're trying to say that it's not an issue.
I'm not saying it's not an issue.
It is an issue.
I'm not saying it's not an
We can't,
issue.
do anything
What
about
I'm
it.
saying is it's blown out of proportion compared to the other issues we have. That it is not necessarily something that requires our full attention compared to other issues like plastics, mining is a big thing. The way we mine, we destroy environments. Rainforest devastation, acidity levels in the ocean, pollutants.
You're right. A lot of those things, especially deforestation, are awful for the environment.
And in the short term too, that's stuff that's going to affect us very rapidly.
Very
All
rapidly.
right,
You're
so
right.
I do agree with that in that it's not as big of an issue as those things.
And that a lot of
But
the
that
problems,
doesn't mean that it's not worth trying to do something about.
I
we can
say
only do
that it's a
some.
problem because it
Global warming,
distracts from other
It
issues.
depends how.
And there's a lot of a lot of ignorance in our population when it comes to solving or really what the issues are, identifying the issues.
Remember,
Global warming is not the biggest
global,
issue in climate change.
Global warming, we only have, Adam, just so you understand, the outlook isn't so devastatingly bad only because there is some profit, thank God, to be made in
Have you heard
getting
of,
energy from in a green way. Thank God.
Have you heard
That's
of
why
carbon credits?
Oh yeah, carbon credits are a fucking scam. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, when companies say that they were green, mostly it's just Tesla selling carbon credits to them to make
Yeah.
money.
And it's terrible. It's bad.
So, like, a lot of
But,
companies
like-
are able to put the green sticker on. In reality, they didn't do shit.
So, okay, just so you know, green sources of green energy are expanding across the globe.
I agree with that. I'm not
We're
denying
getting more
that.
and more
What I'm
wind turbines,
what?
more and more solar panels. Why? Because ultimately there is a bit of a money incentive. Thank God.
Well, I'm not.
If there weren't, because our government is barely doing shit.
Again, not arguing any of that, but like, so say we, like I said earlier in
So
this
you
conversation.
asked what is industry doing? I
Well,
just
hold
mentioned
on.
it.
Industry is barely doing anything. We're not really investing in solar. That is kind of, we did kind of hit a wall. We're not really investing in wind.
I just saw a video the other day where engineers have identified a way to make solar panels way 3% more efficient because by using pure carbon.
Can you make them without petrol?
You need carbon, so it's
not gonna make a difference until the way to
Well,
make solar panels
And that makes
is
drill-
as green
that
as
that's-
solar panels.
And Billy,
themselves.
that's another thing too. When you completely eliminate petrol as fuel, and we still need, that means we need to increase the amount of drilling we do. That means increasing the potential for more oil spills. Also increasing then you're
the
only
amount of petrol that goes towards making solar panels.
Hold on,
drop in the bucket.
petrol is
Tiny.
hold on, petrol
Tiny.
no, it's not that tiny. All plastics
I'll
are.
Google it right now.
It's not that tiny. And by the way, petrol is different from oil. Petrol is what you get from oil to make fuel. Oil is used to make plastics. So what you're doing is you're making oil refineries less efficient because instead what was a byproduct now becomes their main product, and that's only a small percent of what they're getting. So like they have a whole bunch of this burnable shit that we can't use to make plastic. Because plastic is made from a byproduct of oil. Petrol is what we're like. It's a byproduct of making petrol. Kind of like if I was making biodiesel, the byproduct would be glycerol. But for 3 gallons of biodiesel, I only get like half a gallon of glycerol. So you're creating this you have to expand drilling, and who knows how much oil we have left. Granted, that's another thing that they've been saying since the fucking 70s. We only have 10 years left of oil.
It's been 40.
Yeah, it's been 40. They said that when we were kids. We only have like 10, 15 years left of oil. Still burning. Still going.
Just so you know.
I mean, it's because we've expanded drilling techniques and things like that, but also I think a lot of it has just been blown out of proportion.
Just so you know, if we just look at CO2 emissions in the United States by source, all right, we have so the biggest one is transportation, 28%.
Hold on, but you got to break that down too, because airlines are mixed into that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, planes I think are a big bulk of.
It's like it's got to be like
the US.
it's got to be like planes on their own is like 15%, give or take.
I don't know. I think the highest I heard is 10%.
Planes do a lot, dude. And you got to count private jets too. Like it's not just commercial airlines, but
Of
private
course,
jets.
yeah, private that adds up. But
Military expenditures
vast
too.
majority is cars, and trucks. The electric power 25% in the United States. Industry 23%. Residential and commercial 13%. Agriculture 10%. This is by the EPA. That's my source of the pie chart. I got it.
And if you look at California, though, the things they attack are the things that don't really matter. Like they're like, oh, agriculture. You guys don't get to have. You guys have to use electric weed whackers. Like, that's gonna fucking make a dent in what y'all are doing. Like, there's just this. We don't know how to solve problems as a society. Like, we are very.
We make unsolvable problems.
Yeah, we make unsolvable problems, and and a lot of these are solvable, but they're.
I don't think global. This can I just say a little side note? This conversation is so depressing.
It is
Like,
because it's an insurmountable problem.
I am not gonna say. I will say that global warming is kind of blown out of proportion compared to the other issues that we actually can do something about. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's not an issue.
I'm not saying it's not an issue for sure.
But honestly, I think it's an issue that. And this might be a hot take. It's probably an issue that we shouldn't even really focus on because I honestly see it as kind of unsolvable. Like
That's my
where
point.
we kind of dug ourselves our own grave, and we're kind of just waiting for it to fucking.
That is literally my point that I've been trying to make forever.
Yeah,
like
'cause
that. It's like we
God
have so
damn,
many other
it's-
problems.
I think the only reason is just that is such a hard pill to swallow, but it's digesting right now. Fuck.
It's
Yeah.
solvable, but like the thing is, like we have other problems that we could really tackle. Like if we wanted to change, if we wanted to stop, if we wanted to slow down climate change, we should be trying to find alternative means of paper that don't involve trees. We should be trying to replant, like repair environments that we've decimated, like California, replanting redwoods. There's a university out there that wants to do that, but they can't get funding to do it because there's no profit to be had in it. So, like the things that we could do, we don't do. Nobody's trying to fight.
It all comes down to profit.
It
Because
is.
I saw this one. I saw it was a great point. It was Joe Rogan and Neil deGrasse Tyson. They were talking about fresh water. And Joe Rogan has always had the point of, and I love this point of just like, we're fine on fresh water. Like the Earth is 70% water. If we just take the salt out of the water, we're fucking golden. It's just the only issue is that as it stands right now, it is more cost effective to take the fresh water from reservoirs or wherever the fuck, than it is to take the salt out of the water.
Yep.
Once that's not the case, that's what we're going to start doing.
Yep. And
Like
he's
it all just comes down to money.
He's 100% right there too. Like there's this company in California that was trying to create a system where you take in water, you desalinate the water, and you create electricity in the process because salt is a conductor of electricity. Not a great one, but as long as it fuels itself, if it creates neutral cost, people will do it. Like, even if the profit margins aren't huge, like...
And, yeah, and I think a lot of it, like, it all comes from profit. Okay, this is kind of a conspiracy, but have you ever heard of the guy who's trying to make a water-powered car?
There's been that dude since
There's
the
a guy,
70s.
he was trying to make a water-powered car, and I'm pretty sure he did it. He had the blueprints and everything. And then one day, he just fucking died. He just died. All of his records were gone. Like...
That's what I was saying earlier. I believe that dude was killed by the government, or at least
Hold
a
on,
corporate
must have
person.
How would this water powered car work?
You
You just put water in
I don't
it?
know the details, but this is a thing that happened. There was a dude in, what'd you say, the 70s?
Yeah.
He made a water-powered car, fully functional, okay? One day he was just gone on all of his records.
Wait a minute.
Well, that's
This
Seriously,
sounds fishy.
Well, this is some conspiracy shit.
Now,
but
is it? Now, it depends because okay, it's if the fuel source is water itself,
Yes.
it's impossible.
Incorrect.
Now, if
He
the,
did it!
No,
Allegedly.
that's impossible.
Allegedly. But he
Because-
did it.
allegedly, yeah, it has to
That's
be
what I'm saying.
allegedly.
That's pretty much
Because
all
when
I know
you
on that
mix
topic.
hydrogen and oxygen and combust it, it actually gives you energy. So
Exactly.
to separate to water, if you would have to have water by itself. It actually takes energy to separate it into hydrogen and oxygen.
Well,
It
that's kind
takes
of...
electricity from electrolysis.
Well, Billy, it's kind of how cars work. So you have a starter, which uses a battery. The battery creates an initial electric current, which starts the car, and then when the car is moving, it charges the alternator with... when the car is moving...
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns the alternator, which charges the battery. In theory, you could create a similar concept where an initial spark separates hydrogen and oxygen, puts it into a combustible area, which combusts, moving the car, charging an alternator, which charges the battery.
No, unfortunately, I see
In
what you're saying.
theory, I know there's a lot of kinks there.
No, there's not even kinks. So basically, if you want more oxygen and hydrogen to be separated, we have to continuously electrify the water. The energy you put into electrifying the water, actually, it's conserved. You would spend more energy electrifying the water because you would lose some energy. It's in a perfect ideal situation, the energy you're using in electrifying the water is the exact same
See, I
as
watched
the energy you use from recombining the hydrogen and oxygen back into water.
Now, I watched a conspiracy video years ago. Keep in mind, this is all alleged. This is more of a fun conversation. I'm not saying I believe or don't believe this. More or less, as a scientist, I kind of don't until I see it in front of me. But the idea could be that because the reason why it takes more power, more electricity to separate it is because there's a loss. Water, the electric current moves through the water and doesn't separate it, but you lose that power. But if you were able to keep that power contained where you're not experiencing a loss and making it easier for the water to separate, that you could adjust the pH, add an electrolyte to the water to help create conductiveness, to increase conductiveness within the water, you would increase that efficiency.
Yeah, I'm sure there's definitely ways to increase efficiency. Remember, a lot of the energy loss would actually come later, I think. You would lose a lot of energy because it's really hard to capture energy. So it's like in combining the oxygen and hydrogen back, that it's collecting the energy from that reaction that is like a lot of the loss. I think the most efficient way is only like 80% efficient. That's with the most efficient fuel cell way.
Technically, that's a weird way to phrase that because I believe they measure our cars in terms of efficiency, and our cars currently are only 60% efficient.
Now, hydrogen fuel cell is more efficient than petrol, but it's still not 100% efficient, of course.
Well, there's really nothing that's even nuclear bombs, even nuclear.
I think petrol's like maybe the best is that high, but on average, I think it's like 33% efficiency.
By the way, I'm sorry to cut off here, but we've been recording 3 hours. Probably
yeah, we
probably
honestly should
at some point.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to say it because it seems like we just started a new thing, but
right. Well, we don't want to. We don't want to start a whole new thing and then make it 4.5 or 5 hours. You're right.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry,
well, this has been
later than we normally.
This has been a hot discussion today.
This was a good discussion.
It was good, though.
Honestly, very, very depressing conversation, but
a little depressing.
It worked.
Yeah,
a lot of depressing topics.
I think part of the side effect of when we're debating, especially you and me, is we both have very opposing views, but when you argue them, it basically creates this wall of well, then this problem's unsolvable.
Fuck me. We talked about politics. We talked about how we need a disaster for things to get better, and then we talked about the existential threat.
This entire conversation of
climate
change, depressing. Bro.
Yeah, we didn't really. Depressing. I don't even think we got into the initial topics I wanted to get into today.
Deforestation, Jesus.
Yeah, no, because I'm not gonna lie. I don't. You were in the bathroom when this happened, but as far as Adam is fully convinced me as far as global warming goes, because he's not trying to say that it's not an issue. He's just trying to say that it's not really an issue that we can fix. It is kind of unsolvable. The only way to fix global warming, anything we would need to do requires fossil fuels. And if that's at a rate that outweighs the good of green energy.
At the very least, what I'm saying too is
the other issues in climate change are just worse at this point in time.
Yeah, the issue is to really not devastate the environment. We need drastic change, and we need it now in many ways. It's not just about emissions, but big thing, especially the Amazon rainforest. That shit is getting cut down fast. Now, I think it might have slowed down a little bit in the last year, but especially I think
not enough.
Not
it's
nearly really
enough.
Bad how fast they're cutting that.
The amount of problems we have to face, the way
across the world.
I mean, we're depleting our fine mineral resources like silver, gold, things that are great conductors. We create cell phones to break down, but that's such a waste of materials, even if they get recycled, which you have to imagine there's a loss there.
Oh, and a lot of them don't get recycling.
Yeah.
Electronic recycling right now, it's almost a scam.
It's one of those things, just the system is broken.
The pH in the ocean.
The system is broken.
Seriously, the system is broken. You can't get out of it. It's just you
and that is why I deem the only way is a collapse.
End the world.
Well, it's not going to end. It's just the end of this chapter. The book will continue, Billy.
Fair.
Just as a disclaimer to the audience,
I still don't think we should fucking collapse the government. But,
just as a disclaimer to the audience, I do take on a hotter stance while we're debating in this environment, just to kind of stir the pot a little bit, my real views aren't necessarily reflective of this. I play devil's advocate a lot, and I tend to lean more towards a hotter topic.
Devil's advocate.
I just have to say, because I said some hot shit today, and I gotta fucking make sure that I'm covering my ass a little bit. I am a little more reasoned than that.
You like to.
Well, there's a difference
I'm
between
I'm playing a character.
what you would do and what you do.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm playing a character in a way.
No, well, I wouldn't say that. Please, I wouldn't want my.
okay. Well, like
We can
it's
talk
okay,
about
Billy.
it, I guess.
It's more of a subconscious thing. I've been doing YouTube a while, right? I have quite a few videos under my belt. It's not like I wouldn't say you're playing a character. You're just playing a more exaggerated version. Of
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's all it
For
is.
me, my personality is definitely different.
Like, genuinely speaking.
Oh yeah. Well, you're definitely you'd be more energetic, more like just it's different. It's slightly different.
Coming from a genuine perspective, I really do love the majority of people. I really do dislike the people in charge.
Yeah.
And part of why I'm so
I can
passionate.
attest to that. I know Adam personally, and that is very true. I'm glad you admitted
We're
that.
not
I
complete
don't know if
assholes,
I've ever
okay?
heard those words in that way from your mouth. You've
Well,
said
it's-
it in different versions that I picked up on.
It's like
and I knew that about you.
It's like when you have like your fellow prisoners, you know, like we're all in this together at the end of the day, and it's like
exactly. Whenever Adam and I go out, he's super nice. Like, he's not like, oh, another fucker, here in front of
I'm
you.
not an
Sometimes
asshole.
when he's
I-
driving, I will say he does do that. When
People-
he's driving on the road, it's different.
I love you in the grocery store. I love you when
Yes.
you're in my home. But when you're on the roads, y'all piss me the fuck off.
It's so true. Whenever we go out, we bought the dice. Like, whenever I've had interactions, we went to the gym, Adam and I, after work. Like, super nice, but man, when we get on that road, if you do something wrong and Adam can see it, it will be noted.
Oh yeah, taking up 2 lanes, waka.
Pac-Man.
Dude, eat in those white dots. Just stay in your lane. It's really not hard. Also, for those who don't know, the on-ramp is also called, legally, the acceleration ramp.
Yes.
You are
please
meant-
accelerate, please.
By the time you get to the end of the
Almost
acceleration
got into
ramp,
an accident.
I always do, dude. People in my in my town do not know how to fucking drive on the on-ramp. When you get to the end of the on-ramp, you're meant to be the same speed as the people on the highway, so you can merge safely.
Exactly.
A lot
Who's
of the
going to
times-
disagree with that?
I don't know, but they drive like they
I don't
do.
know if it's people not paying attention. It's like
You need to speed up.
you need
That's
to
what they're
speed up.
fucking
And
for.
they will, but it's like
When they get on the highway,
when they get on the highway, it's like no, dude, please. Like, I'm behind them,
Like,
and it's like I'm
why-
suffering here.
Why else would they make it like that's so?
That's the one time a
I
cop
don't
will
know.
actually pull you over for going too slow.
Yeah.
Also, brake lines. I'm not sure if a lot of you know this, but a lot of our street lights are sensor based. So if you don't pull all the way up to the brake line, that light is never going to turn green for us. I'm not sure if you can't see from the hood of your car to where the line is, but you got to go right up to that bitch.
Yeah.
Please drive safe. Please drive smart. Y'all don't know what you're doing. To those of you that do, continue doing what you're doing. There's every now and again, 1 in every 100 of you, I'm behind you on the road, and I appreciate your driving.
Yes. I see the gems, and I'm like, oh, this guy's a gem. I'm gonna drive right behind him.
Yeah, if you see me pass you, it's because you don't know how to drive. If I'm staying behind you, it's because I trust you. You're doing the right thing.
It's very rare, though.
I want that person behind me. I don't want them in front of me.
I feel like your first response is to pass someone, though. I don't know.
Well, because alright, even if they're driving right, most people are going too slow for my case.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
There you go.
I'm going
I was
80.
about to say, like,
But if they're going my speed and I stay behind them, that means I like their driving, dude.
yeah, that's super rare.
I said 1 in every 100.
Adam, yes, you but you
1%,
also
yeah.
say that you're the craziest motherfucker on the road, and no one should be going faster than you are. So,
Well, hold on. No, there's a joke there, and this reflects to all drivers. If someone's going slower than you, they're a dumbass. If someone's going faster than you, they're an asshole. So in everybody's mind, they are going the correct speed no matter what they're driving. That's how people operate. I just blatantly admit it because I find it funny.
Okay.
Like no matter, like, think about it. If you're driving and they're going slower, dumbass. They're going faster than you and they're riding your ass, asshole.
Yep.
So no matter what, you are driving the correct speed and they think the same thing.
You literally cannot argue that.
Yeah.
It's just opinion.
It's just an opinion.
Yeah.
Like, are you driving the speed limit? Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Are you in the left lane? Get the fuck out of the left lane.
Yeah, get the fuck out of the left lane, please.
It's
yes.
called the passing lane. You don't belong there. I don't care if your exit's on the left.
If your exit's on the left, you actually...
How many miles? I think 1 mile. You should merge over 1 mile. Like,
I can agree with
I've
that.
seen
1
people-
mile. 1 mile is typically enough.
I've seen people sit in their in the left lane for like 15 miles.
Just go in the speed limit.
Just go in the speed limit.
They're fucking idiots.
There we go. See what I mean?
They're fucking idiots.
Yep. The guy behind you is riding your ass because you're going too slow thinks the same thing. I'm driving the correct speed.
Adam, you're crazy.
Am I right, though?
You're right, but you're crazy.
I am crazy.
There you go.
Like I said, I have a gift for
By the
seeing
way-
outside myself.
By the way, I do...
You agree.
The audience doesn't know
You're
this.
driving the...
Adam drives really fast. I drive fast. I will go somewhere between 5 and 10 over.
I
Wait.
drive reasonably fast. Yeah, I'll do that.
I go
I'll
up.
drive
So
reasonably fast.
if to me 80 is so in Connecticut the common speed limit is 65 common
Yeah.
for highways.
for highways.
I think that's the highest it's ever. I don't know.
It doesn't-
Yeah,
I- hold on,
I
it's
might
common.
have seen a 70 before.
I have in Connecticut there's like 170, but it's like, but yeah, there's not much of
And
it.
it sucks because a lot of them, it's like 55. It's like, oh.
On the highway?
Oh, dude, you've never seen those?
Well, no, I
They're all
have,
over
just
the
like-
place.
On
Yeah,
on
it
the way
sucks.
from Bristol to here is 55.
Crazy, right?
It doesn't feel like. I'm not gonna lie.
I
I
don't
don't.
follows that.
like-
Thank God.
Speed limits. Okay, speed limits are really only there for dumb people. Like if you know what you're doing,
In my
like,
mind,
like it's
I-
more of a feel thing. Like if I feel like I'm going the right speed, then I probably am.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, another thing. If I'm leaving a reasonable, I mean like the legal speed, like distance between me and the car in front of me, that is not an invitation for you to merge into that. I will not let you merge.
Oh, I hate people who do that. Where it's just like, I have space where like, I'm keeping a safe space and like, technically there's enough room for them to merge and then they fucking go for it. It's like, you motherfucker.
Because you're
Fuck
slowing
you.
down me and everyone behind me now.
Yeah. Motherfucker.
And honestly, you trust my brakes too much.
Exactly.
Like, you,
Uh-huh.
you
I
trust
have to brake. If I have to brake because of your ass, fuck you.
Yep. Like, you should not be making other people break. It is ridiculous. Like, the entitlement. I don't care if you have to merge. You should have merged before.
exactly.
Figure it out. I don't know. Anyway,
Alrighty.
stay safe.
But anyway, yes, we gotta end this podcast.
Gotta end
yes.
this shit.
Stay safe, ladies
Great
and gentlemen.
episode.
So, yeah,
Awesome
great episode. Very, very touchy. Very, very all over the place. Very
Also,
good. We're good.
also
A
hope
little
your,
depressing.
I hope your shit was really good. I always want to say that.
I hope your shit was...
There's got to be someone watching this taking a shit. and
Oh,
I just-
yeah.
dude. I hope it was great. I hope you wiped.
Mhm.
Hope you fucking.
Hope you
did
washed
what
your
do.
hands,
Wash
bro.
your hands.
I hope.
Wash your hands right fucking now.
I hope
Yeah.
you have that nice empty feeling afterwards versus nice. Yeah.
You ever taken a shit that was so bad that, like you had to strip off all your clothes in the middle of it because you just needed to breathe?
Oh yeah,
And then all of a sudden when you're done, you're like, you almost fall asleep because you have no energy left.
that's Burger King.
Bro,
That's just Burger King.
the big king, bro. That sandwich. 6 hours later, you're shitting your pants, bro. 6 hours later.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, my views are I exaggerate them a little bit here, but generally I love all of you because I feel like we're all in the same boat
True,
together.
True. You exaggerate, and I gotta say,
I exaggerate to push
some of that.
I exaggerate to push buttons. Really,
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
it is.
Is what I don't want you guys to think Adam's not sharing his authentic self. It's just he does when it comes, especially when it comes to how he thinks a lot of us need. Like he actually does love the common person. Like I know Adam.
Yeah,
Because
Like,
all of us
if I
walk
thought
the
it was
same
a fucking
path.
asshole, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
here. So
Adam is also, especially the working class. I know Adam.
Oh, y'all have my loyalty. White,
Exactly,
black, male,
yeah.
woman. We're all in this shit together, dude.
If you're in the working class, Adam is especially.
I'm on your side.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason I am the way I am. Is because we work hard enough, and we're not getting what we deserve. We're not, especially people my age and younger. I'm sorry, we can't buy a house. I'm a millennial, so please don't blame me. We need to smarten up about the generational thing. Millennials didn't do this.
We are your older brothers and sisters who taught you how to smoke weed out of an apple.
Yo, that's how people start, too.
Yeah,
Oh my
like-
god. That's fucking wild.
Bro, we are your older brothers and sisters. Like we're in this with you, man.
Holy shit.
That is so funny.
It's our parents' generation.
Yes, seriously, yeah. Oh my gosh, I know.
Undying loyalty to a company that does not care about you. I will never understand. Switch every 3 to 4 years because that is proven you will get a 20% raise.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. I probably need to switch. Funny enough, I'd make more money.
I've been working-
I'd make a lot more money.
I'm
if I
28. I've been working since I was 16, and I've had 12 jobs. You do the math there. I switch annually.
Yeah, I'm trying to fucking switch.
switched. Yeah, no, switching.
I applied to Target. They didn't want me.
They don't want anybody these days, bro.
I tried. They denied me fucking yesterday. I'm still salty. Fuck you, Target.
Yeah, fuck Target.
Fuck
man.
Target.
Fuck
Well,
Target.
I'll apply into their jobs, so I can't speak ill on them.
Well, Adam's cool with you, but Target, go
For
fuck
now.
yourself.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
that's awkward.
For now.
For now.
If you give me a job, we're cool. If you don't,
Oh, yeah, if
fuck you.
if you-
Oh,
if you
that's
give-
right.
If you give him a job, we're chilling. But,
Yeah.
you know.
If not, it just proves our opinion about you. Be better, Target. Hire me.
Yeah. Also, if you want to hire me in the future, I'll love you. But right now, fuck you.
By the way, I'm not talking about one of their grocery stores or one of their retail stores. I'm a mechanic, so it's different. I work on forklifts.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not
Maintenance department.
Maintenance department, yeah.
Maintenance department.
It's
I can
not-
change out toilets and get your machines running. Let me know.
excellent.
I'm never gonna hear back from them.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
I'm not gonna see this shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Are we even using our real names? Oh, yeah, Adam,
Yeah,
Billy,
Adam,
Well,
and
yeah,
Dan.
we
Dan.
we fucking have been.
Oh yeah, we haven't put our last
No
names
last
in.
names.
No,
No, I'm
none
not-
of us have done
I'm not
that
doing
last
that.
We all happen to be Smith. What are the chances?
Yeah.
Smith.
I've never done that. I'm still not doing that.
If anything, like if I were to make a bigger name, I'd call you like Danger Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you want to be called like if we were to use like usernames like
Danger, your thing is more your thing. Danger Dan, it's your YouTube channel, but it's also like
kind of just me.
it's kind of just you. Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing it so long.
I forgot what the boys call me.
The boys.
Like my fellow wizard, Billy knows them. I get
Yeah.
called
Called the boys.
I get called Adamus a lot.
Damas.
Adamus.
Yeah.
Would you want not fucking Dragon Wars? No.
No, it wouldn't be like a.
That was even my name. That was just
Same thing with my
YouTube
channel. No one's gonna call me Hey Math.
Yeah.
Like,
from that. Yeah.
Hey for
Well,
Math,
my-
They call you Big Bills.
yeah, Big Bills.
Big
Yeah.
Bills,
Well, I guess
bro.
the difference. My channel is more just focused on like as weird as to say, it's kind of just focused on me. So I guess it's not really like a name for the channel. It's more just
Yeah, it's
My
you do a lot of
identity.
different content.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
with you. It's mainly just focused on the math. It's like
Yeah,
it's
mainly
it's
focused on
personality,
math.
but it's also just about the math. With
Yes.
you, I mean,
For me, it was just
you
about
you
nerd
ain't really
shit.
started, so
Yeah, I can't really count mine. Mine was an introduction to nothing.
introduction to shit that just never happened. Yeah.
That
But
is
dude.
textbook ADHD, though.
But textbook ADHD for sure. But also, like, I don't see it as like I think it's still great. My personal opinion.
Oh yeah, I think I had great potential, but I
Yeah,
just
no, your editing is actually really good.
yeah.
Really
Just for the
nice.
first video, yeah.
Yeah, if I built on that, it could have been something. Maybe I will.
Sure. And
Once-
it's exactly.
We
Like,
need-
it's not too late at all.
right now,
So,
this
yeah.
has been this
Like,
and
I
our
haven't uploaded in like a year and a half.
this and our D&D campaign is like has been really taking up most of my time. Me and my
Me
friends.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like once I get into a groove and this gets into a groove and we're like uploading and it's like we
I
work
wanna
out our
start
technical
uploading.
difficulties.
I want to start.
I want to start
yeah.
uploading so fucking bad. We did make the channel.
Should
At this
we
point, we made it.
go on Fiverr and get a logo? I feel like we
Right
should
now?
do. I mean, after the show, sometime during the week, we can text each other. We have the group chat.
Well, I mean, I feel like honestly, I feel like that's not as important right now.
Yeah, but it'll look good once we start uploading.
It
Well,
would
the thing
look
about
good.
I
Especially
had
with nice sounding audio.
Yeah. Well, you don't-
The
you don't
audio
need,
sounds
like-
really nice.
what we have is like good enough. We don't really need like a, you know.
I don't know exactly. I'm kind of with Dan. It's
It's
not
not
necessary.
I feel like
for
the
sure.
the channel is made. the most important thing for that channel
It's
is
the
getting a
content.
fucking video up there.
Yes, the
Definitely.
content. The
Yeah.
content is by far the most important.
Yeah,
thing.
we'll
Everything
grow
else-
as we start going too.
Yeah, we can maybe, especially, we could have a cool intro. A cool intro, definitely. Something like that where it looks professional. Definitely
Yeah.
help.
Damn. On a
Like-
side note, I'm hungry as fuck.
I'm hungry as well.
I'm feeling it.
Let's
Yeah, let's wrap
Alright,
this up.
it's been Against the Grain.
Against the
Another
Grain.
fantastic, awesome episode.
Episode something, because
Episode
they're probably out of order.
6.
This is episode 6.
It's the 6th session, but they're probably...
But it's probably the second one for
something.
everyone.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Because-
6th session.
Because 1 through 4, there's...
They're going
Here,
to.
look.
Especially 1 through 3.
If you
They will
want,
get
we can track
uploaded.
it chronologically.
They will get uploaded just more
Later.
as like our pilot episodes.
Yes, later.
Like
Yeah.
We'll upload them
Those
later.
are demos.
Those are
Those
demos.
are
Those are
those are fucking
those
Great
are
conversations, though.
extras.
yeah.
They are.
Really good conversations.
That's
but
why
I'm-
if they weren't good conversations, probably just fucking get rid of them.
Those are
I
like
think
our.
the audio, not too bad, but just not up to the standards we have now.
That will
That's
be
all.
our first few episodes. If you remember Dragon Ball Z Abridged from Team 4-Star.
Yeah, the first ones, they had to figure out the audio.
Yeah, it wasn't until like episode 12 that they really got it down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like we're fine. Remember Bulma? Her mic was horrible.
Oh, yes. Especially her mic. Yes.
Her mic was particularly bad. It's like she was recording with a gamer headset.
Yeah, wow. Damn.
Like, voice actor, she's phenomenal. I forgot her name, but Team 4-Star, check them out if you don't know.
I love Team
Hellsing Abridged, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and all of their
Good
extra
shit.
content.
Yeah.
They're currently
Gaming.
uploading a series called Hiffle, Home for Infinite Losers, based in the Dragon Ball Z universe.
It's really nice. All right.
All right.
Have an awesome day, guys.
There you go.
Peace.
All right.